And wait a couple seconds in case there's any ads. In case there's any ads that anyone wants to skip before they start that stream.
Oh, they love that, man.
Other than that, I think we are good and we are live. What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and this is my normal Sunday stream at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern every single week. And I am excited to have some awesome guys with me here to talk Star Wars, a little bit about what's been going on this week, and finally tackle. I've been staying away from it on my channel for the most part. Finally tackling and talking about the leaks and seeing if we think there's any way, comparing them based what we've seen on the TV spots, if there's any way that these leaks aren't essentially 100% confirmed. So we will be getting into that later. And before we get any spoilers, I will let you guys know in case you want to avoid it for any reason. But today I have with me Ord's Board. Ord's Board, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, I'm glad you reached out to me, man. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate this. This is fun.
Yeah, no problem. Introduce yourself a little bit. Tell them about, what your channel is all about and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, my channel is Ord's Board. My name is Jordan. If people want to call me that, I don't care either way. So you can call me Ords, whatever you guys want. My channel is about pop culture. I'm really terrible at keeping up with what's coming out, what's new. So I figured if I made a YouTube channel about it, then I'd kind of have to keep up with it. So I do a lot of pop cult news, things that are coming out. I try to stay on top of, the trailer reactions and things like that. So yeah, if you guys are bored, come hang out with me because that's what I am, bored.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I'm glad you're available. I was a little short notice. I am kind of an asshole sometimes when it comes to these. I procrastinate a little bit, but thanks to these two guys for being able to hop on and talk. And then, of course, the handsome man who just disappeared on you all, 19K Fox.
You got to pay extra for that, Ryan. You know better than that. Come on. Yeah, I'm lagging a little bit, so I don't want to be distracting. Thanks for so much for letting me come on here and talk about some of these leaks that have been sort of bothering me too. And I don't know. Ryan, it's not looking good, buddy. It's not looking good. But for those of you who don't know, I am 19K Fox, 19K Fox 1 on Twitter. I do a lot of reaction videos. Batwoman seems to be a thing that I'm a champion of, unfortunately. But I also cover The Mandalorian and other movies. So I'm also the king of the 2-minute review. Every week I have a new 2-minute review on a new movie. So if you have a few minutes, swing by and check out my channel.
And that's true. I don't understand how you can do those 2-minute reviews because, when I do Mandalorian reviews, my episode 5 review is nearly as long as the episode itself. Yes. So not Mauler style or anything like that, but still, almost as long as the episode. You're cutting 2-hour movies down to 2 minutes.
I don't know. That's insane, man.
It starts out with about an hour of content, and then I have to just whittle that down. So
wow, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of editing.
It's like I always liken it to Jaws, where the shark sucked and they had a lot of issues and problems, so it forced them to make a better movie. To be creative. So if you put yourself in a box like that, it really makes you focus in on what you like, what you don't like, and give it a rating. Really
get an idea what the best of your block is that you have.
Yeah, there you go. And cool. I see someone in chat says I like the Longman reviews. I like the Longman reviews as well. I just can't cut it down. Sometimes I have to just talk like that, and maybe one day I will do videos Mauler style and have 10 hours of content on The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. But we can shoot for the stars. Yeah. And if we shoot for the stars, maybe we'll hit the moon. But we got a $2 super chat from the Price is Right review. Never stop being awesome, guys. Merry Christmas with some shades, some stun of shades. So thank you, Price is Right. Appreciate you, bro. We will try to keep the awesome going. Let's say hi to everybody here in chat. Apollo Patriots here talking about an Old Republic movie. I've seen a lot of people randomly come up with the Keanu as Revan thing again lately. I feel like that was a thing like several months ago. And then all of a sudden I see a bunch of pictures popping up. There wasn't even a new announcement or anything. Just somebody started talking about Revan. Listen, do we deserve a great Old Republic movie? 100% do I want to see Disney do it? Nah, please no.
No. Honestly, I'd like to see. Oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart here. Bouncing between chat. Lord of the Rings. Help me out here.
the Lord of the Rings director.
Yeah. Peter Jackson. Sorry.
Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd like to see him do it. I mean, I feel like they would use a lot of inspiration from that, being like kind of an old world feel to it. Very big, buildings. There's probably castles around still, from the old days. I think maybe doing it in that kind of light would be a good idea.
Yeah. I could definitely, and that's what I think that they were going for. I think that was the plan. Ultimately, when they brought on freaking Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones, I think that's what they wanted to try to do, maybe, and that obviously all fell through because nobody wants to work with Lucasfilm.
Yeah, and
not even the incompetent people.
Right? It wasn't confirmed that they were going to be working on that specific project, was it?
No,
they were going to have their own trilogy, I think.
Yeah.
And I think they need to move away from anything established and do something different, and just sort of play in a different sandbox within the same universe with something different. I don't know that I'm with Ryan. I don't trust them with anything that's established.
Yeah. And that's definitely where I am too. And God, it's just so sad that that's the stage we're at with Star Wars. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that more. And yeah, with this crew making it, say hello to Darth Bennett. Yeah, exactly. Raise the son of Revenant Bastilashan. Change my mind. Please no, Darth Primus. Come on. Lost Jedi's in chat. One of my patrons. What's going on, man? Jennifer G is here. Hey, Jennifer. Dr. Jagus. Or Dr. Jagus. I don't know how Disney will do it. Not any comics, video games, or books for source material. Oh, wait. It's all right behind me. All of the books, all of the comics. Oh, yes.
But it doesn't exist, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Kennedy. We've got Mary. Someone lied to Mary, said that there would be cookies and punch here. I'm sorry. You will have to. Well, I know you like to call Fox snack cake, so that'll be your snack for tonight.
That makes you two the punch.
Oh, God.
No. One, two. Cougar Knife. Raging Rhino is here. Adam Carlson. Yeah. Oh no, the leaks. Oh no. Grobnob the Troll is here. Oh yeah. Alex McCarthy. What's going on, buddy? I'm doing, I'm not feeling the best today. I think I might be coming down with something, unfortunately, but I'm going to keep it going. Keep it going through the stream because we got to do it.
He's here for you guys.
I'm here for you guys, and you guys are here for me. It's a symbiotic relationship. Soul Assassin's here. Brian the Observer. Dissing on Disney before it was cool. Hell yeah. Let's see. Oh, it skipped. I hate when it skips like that. But Wookiee Supremacy's in the house. Dr. Coffee Nails. We've got a super chat from Lethal Lightning, Australian $2. I think that might be worth like a quarter or something. Hashtag Jason Solo did nothing wrong. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. That is right, my friend. We are all about Jason Solo and the Snyder Cut here. We got Keck 44 in the house. Everything Star Wars. Are the leaks true? It looks like it to me. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be comparing it to some of the things we've heard everybody say. I've mostly stayed away from leaks on this channel, except a couple videos, but on streams, I've kind of stuck away from them. That changes today. But first, before we get into leaks, 19K Fox, when I asked him to be on, specifically wanted to talk about something. And I thought that was a great idea. And it was something I stumbled upon yesterday. And we'll go ahead and share my screen right here so you guys can see the article. Something I stumbled upon yesterday, and I made a video for my channel, and I made a video for Geeks and Gamers about it because, it's very interesting. When we hear about these plans, when you see that first trailer at Star Wars Celebration, you hear Emperor Palpatine's laughing, everyone's shocked. Everyone was shocked for a reason because no one expected Emperor Palpatine to be back. This was not planned. This is a gimmick. And I think most of us realize that. However, there's a huge group of people who want to defend it and say, oh, well, if George had done it, he would have brought Palpatine back too and all these other things. Well, we have this article here. Emperor Palpatine was absolutely dead in George Lucas's Star Wars 9. Now, Fox, since you were the one that wanted to talk about this, you want to give kind of a summary of this article and kind of what they're talking about here?
Well, it's interesting. It's sort of a puff piece where we have Ian giving an interview, and he's he's genuinely excited about returning to Star Wars. But the story goes that he was contacted by JJ about a year ago. And the conversation was like, hey, we're thinking about bringing Palpatine back. What do you think? And of course, he thought that was a wonderful idea. And it was in the interview, it's kind of nice. He's genuinely excited. You can see that. But it's just so, it's amazing to me how they expect us to believe the lie that, oh, guys, this was planned from the beginning. Last Jedi was not a bump in the road. It was all planned. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Nothing's on fire. And it's just another development in something that we've all known, anyone with a brain, anyone that's really been paying attention to, that this is just a mess. It's a disaster. So on one hand, it's another confirmation of that. And on the other hand, it's actually good to see him returning in the role because he's obviously got a real passion for it. It's just a shame that it's going to be this way.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously there is a difference, right? Because when we read this article, and like I said, I covered it yesterday, it talks about that Ian McDiarmid had this conversation with Lucas in 2013. 2013 was after he had sold Star Wars in 2012 and turned in his story treatments, the story treatments that they rejected. So you can't even say that in those story treatments he was going to bring him back, because literally months after that, he's asked by Ian McDiarmid himself, and he says, no, he is absolutely dead. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, they couldn't have wanted to do it, because it's different. What George Lucas wanted to do is clearly not the way Disney went. But it just goes to show you that George is not okay with that, and that was never part of his plan, like they're trying to tell us. What do you think, Ords?
Well, I mean, here's the thing I think people are going off of with the whole, because I know in the comics, the Emperor was able to essentially like transfer, I think, his essence or who he is into a clone. I think that happened at one point. So people are thinking that this might have something to do with it. So I guess my point being is there is instances where the Emperor still oh, there you go. See, so that's the book, right?
This is it. Yep, this is the comic series.
Oh yeah, that's the one where Luke essentially becomes Vader, right?
Well, so it's kind of complicated. It's so in Dark Empire, they wanted to the storyline behind it. We'll take this down for a second. The storyline, or the story of how it was created, is they approached George. They wanted to do a comic, and everything went through George's approval. They wanted to but they wanted to have somebody walking around in Vader's armor to make it seem as though Vader was back. And he said, no, I definitely don't want that to happen. And it's up for dispute whether George came up with the idea specifically or someone else said, hey, how about this? And George was like, yeah, you can do that as long as it's a clone. And so they decided that they could have a clone of Palpatine, who was essentially insane because the bodies could not hold up to his spirit. He was trying to transfer his essence after he had died, after he dies, and his essence is, he's not one with the Force, because that's not really what happens to Sith. And he transfers his essence into a clone body, and he's hopping from clone to clone, trying to find a body suitable for him. And it's a long story, but George was very specific that it would be a clone. It couldn't be Palpatine survived somehow.
Right. Like these leaks are suggesting.
Yes. And so that's a huge difference to me. And whether that's a huge difference to you or not, I suppose that's up to each person and their, individual choices. But
there was that, but there was also like this little tidbit. I think it was an Easter egg. Maybe some of you may have missed it, but in episode 6, I think, Return of the Jedi, he was thrown in a freaking pit. I don't know if anybody saw that. And then he exploded, and he was vaporized in that explosion. That was before the Death Star was destroyed as well. So this is not, it was a separate thing. I mean, he was dead.
That was before the special edition, in which they have an edit of him not blowing up, and then him doing space Leia Poppins. As the Death Star blows up, he goes away.
See, subscribe to Ryan Kinel, because this is where you get all that information. I did not know that. I apologize.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I guess like when he does explode, I mean, what we see is I guess we'll call it his essence, or everything that makes him up, his power,
dark side power.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, maybe something maybe they're kind of playing off that, like the essence still exists. I don't know, maybe he was able to pull all that force or all that power back together somehow. I don't know. It's just kind of a out there theory.
We'll see. Red Gaze is in the house. Very kindly says, "What up, bitches?" What's up, Red Gaze? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, and I agree. It was funny. Just as close to from the horse's mouth as you're going to get it, right? George Lucas didn't come out and say it, but it's the dude who plays the guy that we're talking about, if he was ever intended to come back or not. And we see in these articles, Michelle Rejwan and Kathleen Kennedy are saying, "Oh yeah, it wouldn't even make sense to have a sequel trilogy without Palpatine." Come on. You can only so much shit.
I mean, despite all the issues that The Force Awakens and Last Jedi had, I mean, what did you guys think of Snoke? Like as an overall bad guy leading up to what happened to him in Last Jedi?
I mean, Snoke. Yeah, go ahead, Fox.
Well, it was just another mystery box character. I think it was like everything else that JJ does. It has potential. It's introduced and it's sort of out there. You could have gone really anywhere with the character. I think that he was definitely set up to be the main bad guy, obviously. And then there would have been drama between, Kylo and Rey and that sort of, their conflict with each other and maybe a little swapping back and forth between light side and dark side. But eventually he would have been the bad guy. And I think that he was, for the most part, ominous enough. I really hated the gold, leisure suit, the robe that he was wearing, the Trump robe that he had on. I don't understand what was going on there, but that was weird. But no, I don't think that there was any issue initially with him, but that just speaks to the damage that, Episode 8 did.
Yeah, it took everything away, basically what was established. I mean, yeah, and so what? Okay, The Force Awakens is essentially a redone New Hope. And I think people were okay. Most people were okay with that. I think, okay, yeah, there's issues within the storyline, and the character development is, a little wonky, but okay, we at least got something that looks like Star Wars for the most part. And then with that Last Jedi and Rian Johnson essentially taking everything out that was established, leaving even more questions. So nothing was answered. And you felt like everything was just taken away, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I for one am not someone who liked Force Awakens, mostly because I was so bitter because about the EU. So I don't know if they put anything out there if I was going to like it. However, I just thought it was really empty. Like Snoke was a character that was full of potential, and JJ's mystery box works in a way that it gets fans invested in these theories, right? He literally allows you to do the work for them to get excited. He doesn't have to explain things, just have to provide something for you to then try to get your own explanation. And they completely ruined anything they could have had with Last Jedi. But High Ground Master says Baby Yoda is the actual Sith, with Ryan's disfigured face on top of Baby Yoda's body, all while eating Christmas tree cakes. Yeah, that's a great Snoke theory. I like that.
Yeah.
And then also Benzo, my awesome mod, says, please smash that like button. We got 86 people watching, only 42 thumbs up. So if you guys are enjoying the stream, please smash that like button, share the stream out, let everybody know that we're here having fun tonight, and that we're going to get into some leaks soon. And before I forget, we're 15 minutes in. We got a good crowd here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to thank my patrons, because without my patrons, I couldn't do a lot of the stuff I'm able to do. And, they keep me going, keep me able to provide great content for everybody. And I appreciate them wholeheartedly. So every stream, I thank them. And that is Teresa Martin, Mexican Iron Man, Lost Jedi 22, who's in chat right now, Mary Mayhem, who's in chat, What an Ass, What a Bitch, What a Cuck, George Big Dick Lucas, Rosetta Allen, who I've also seen in chat, Bionic Belly Button, RC from the NYC, Huge Ass, Seth Saunders, Kyle Hopkins, Alex McCarthy, who I saw, Trev Fishbein, and Geeky Candy, who just got monetized. It only took like 12 hours for her to get monetized.
Right.
Imagine that. Huh?
She subbed to me yesterday. I was pretty excited about that.
Oh, nice. She has her subs public?
I don't know.
Oh, she told you.
Well, no, it popped up on my notification. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much for my patrons. It helps me do what I need to do, and hopefully I can get you some awesome content as well. But are you guys ready to get into these leaks?
Let us begin.
Let's do it.
So what we are going to do is we are going to take a look at the leaks. There's been two recent versions, basically. So we're going to take a look through these leaks, and we're going to compare them to stuff we've seen in the trailers. And Listen, I think that all of us are pretty much. I don't know who in the world is still saying that this is not true. That this is some 4-dimensional underwater chess that they're trying to play. I think that it's real. So Keck44, hold up. I saw that comment. Ryan's too scared of Darth Barbie. He had to start streaming to avoid getting smashed. Well, this is my streaming time. 4:30 is when I stream every single Sunday. So they're the ones who decided that they wanted to stream right now when I couldn't come on. So just saying. But yeah, so let me pull that down. Get rid of that. All right, I think I've got it set up here that we have this, that we have a good setup. It's going to look kind of silly, I think, but all right. So I should probably zoom in, and maybe I can zoom in here as well. All right. So you guys have seen all this, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right. So everyone in chat, spoilers. I don't know if anyone cares. I don't know if anybody really cares about this movie, but all right, Alex, thanks for checking it out, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night, brother. Okay, so this is all from Jedi Praxis, who has been the guy who came with the initial ones like months and months ago, that it's all seemed to be correct. So let's get into it. So if you can see on the left side, this one came out probably like 2 months ago. This one on the right came out some additional details based on the reshoots and edits that are going on. And there's not too much, there's not too much huge differences except for the ending. I think that's the really big part. So we'll go ahead and get through this. So Act 1 starts with an Exegol, this planet. The film now apparently begins with a shot of a control tower rising from the ground of the planet. The control tower begins transmitting the signal, and the Star Destroyers burst through the surface of the planet and rise into the air. Amazing, right? Amazing. Apparently, this change was made to establish the fleet as a threat from the very beginning, as well as coordinates with changes made to the back half of the film during reshoots. And we have seen that footage of Star Destroyers breaking through the ground. So I think that's pretty obvious. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has been aware of a dark power. Kylo's been spending his time as First Leader with the purpose of locating this power. Generals Hux and Pride have been following Kylo around on his quest and are beginning to get frustrated with what they see as a fool's errand. They see this as a waste of the First Order's time and resources. When we catch up with the villains, Kylo is leading an assault on this planet to find the Wayfinder device. And there used to be some shot with this Oracle, this big spider thing in a swamp. They got rid of that because they said it was too confusing to people. And everyone's right. Everyone is right in chat. This is going to go like so confusing. This movie is going to be all over the place. No one's going to understand.
They've got the spider thing out now. It's going to make perfect sense. Thank God for that.
Exactly. Well, I heard they had people getting up in the middle of these test screenings, like walking out.
Yeah, it's tough to know, man. It's tough to know how much of this is like misinformation, disinformation, what the screenings are they family and friends screenings. It's crazy, all the different stuff that has been out there. But
you heard about the Swedish guys, right? Their rating system and how they leaked basically the explanation of why they rated the movie what they did.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things we'll get into, all the different confirmation of these leaks being true. And we'll just say that now. There's a part at the end where it talks about a man's face getting melted with lightning, which you talk about at the end. We're going to talk about how Rey deflects Palpatine's Force lightning back at him. It talks about an old man. It talks about an old man who is siphoning the life force off two younger people. I mean,
I wonder.
Kylo.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. We already have that movie. It's called Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, but that's all in the Swedish leaks, and so we will, and so this is all the stuff that is updating the leaks and basically just confirming a couple things. So, like we said, he's looking for this Wayfinder device, and it still starts with that slaughter. The Wayfinder is a pyramid-shaped object. I don't know if it's supposed to look like a Sith holocron. I've got one of those right here. Boom. I don't know if this is what the Wayfinder is going to look like or not. But
very nice.
I'm not going to put that back up because it's unbalanced and it'll fall. I probably shouldn't have taken it down.
Don't forget it's there later.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wouldn't be fun to step on that thing.
So Kylo basically finds this pyramid-shaped object and he hooks it up to his TIE fighter somehow, and it just gives him the coordinates to go to this planet called Exegol, where Palpatine is located. So he flies through a red nebula-like section of space to get to Exegol. Once on Exegol, Kylo wanders into what looks like a science lab, and Palpatine's voice can be heard claiming he made Snoke and he's been orchestrating everything from the shadows. And that directly ties into a TV spot that just came out a couple days ago. Do you guys remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he says that I've been every voice in your head, and his voice changes to Snoke and then Vader, and
Jesus.
They're just like throwing people into this just to put them into it.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got a $2 Australian super chat from Rianne Kinel, RK Outpost. It's a picture of Ryan Johnson's head on my shoulders that says, "I am now a mod on Mark's channel," because they thought that it was me. So
yesterday they were at the gym.
Yes, I'm sure that's what they always say. And that's how they trick everybody. That's how they trick everybody, of course. With regards to Palpatine's initial appearance, flashes of lightning reveal on Palpatine's face with white eyes attached by his back to some vertical metal arm, leading to something we don't see. And again, that was said really early on in these leaks that, essentially that Palpatine was hooked up to some kind of machine that was basically keeping him alive. And then in one of the first TV spots, you see him on the throne, and what do you see attached to him? You see a mechanical device.
Right. It's RoboCop.
Basically. Yeah. I don't know exactly if they're going to, explain how he's alive. I think from what I've heard, we'll get into into it later, but from what I've heard, they're basically just going to skim over it and not explain it. Is that going to be a reasonable explanation for you guys?
No.
Not in the slightest. I want to hear that the Jawas found him and brought him back and then merged him with some droid parts laying around. And then that's where he's been sort of hanging out with them for 30 years.
God.
That's interesting.
This is so convoluted and ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what they could say that would make it seem reasonable or rational. The only thing I can think of is that if they were to somehow show it like in a flashback scene, show a stasis pod in his chambers on the Death Star, and he's able to transfer his essence into that clone before Vader throws him in the pit. I mean, and then amid the destruction of the Death Star, he escapes in a pod or a ship's in some way, somehow. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that would sort of kind of make sense. It's still garbage, but
or like he was able to pass, from clone to clone until he was able to build this device that would sustain, his ecto existence or whatever.
Ecto Sith.
God. Oh yeah. And then so evidently just a little before he actually finds Palpatine, we get switched to Rey. So we get switched to Rey at the Resistance's jungle base, where Leia has picked up where her brother left off and has been helping Rey learn the ways of the Jedi. Rey is doing some mental force training, but is struggling with it. And evidently they have changed it to have her trying to communicate with others who have gone on the force, which I'm sure is going to play a part later. In frustration, she asked Leia if she can do physical training instead. And that's when we see her doing the jungle, like all the leaping around in the jungle, all that stuff that we do see in the trailers. And then there's a part right here that we definitely saw. This came out before this trailer spot. Reshoots have added a greater sense of the anger in Rey during her physical training. She cuts down a tree, which falls on BB-8. Poor guy. After her training, she tries to communicate with Luke, asking him to appear, but nothing happens. Rey gives her lightsaber to Leia, feeling that she is undeserving of it. So if you guys remember, maybe a month or so ago, we saw this trailer that just had a shot of Leia holding Rey's lightsaber in the jungle.
Yeah.
Right. So this came out well before that TV spot.
Yep.
Now, one question I have is how the hell is this lightsaber fixed?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's force welding. That's a new That was in one of the new expanded universe books.
Oh,
I don't know. I can't remember the volume, but I'll look. I'll send you a DM later. Yeah. I don't. It's
sure
so
Chuck
it's
Wendig.
stupid. I mean, why wouldn't she build her own saber if she is a Jedi and she's being trained? I love how they say that Leia picks up where Luke left off. Well, Luke didn't train her. I mean, nobody. What the hell?
Right,
I mean,
right.
training never really happened, so there's nothing to pick up from. But why wouldn't, if she is the badass that she is, or she is the last Jedi, or whatever you want to call her, why not have that scene? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah. I mean, and what training? Yeah, like you said, he didn't train her. I mean, he gave her some words of wisdom. You know.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and he had his ass kicked by Rey there when they were arguing. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And that's the thing. Someone asked me the other day if I think that Rey is a Jedi. And I'm like, no, she didn't receive any training. She just is a Force user.
I mean, part of the Jedi training is to build your own lightsaber, yes?
Yeah, I mean, true.
I mean, you go get your crystal and you assemble it together yourself, and that's part of your training, I think.
I mean, being Force sensitive is one thing, but yes, to be a Jedi Knight, to wield the Force in such a way requires years of training.
Yes.
It's not like a participation trophy,
I mean, and you're talking about Anakin Skywalker, who was going to bring balance to the Force, essentially one of the strongest Jedi to exist. He had to receive training as well.
Yeah,
and his training wasn't even complete when he switched over to the dark side.
Yeah, and you can see here that it's very interesting the reason that they changed this. The reason why this was added seems to be to establish Rey's struggle and anger and an inability to commune with dead Jedi earlier in the film, making her successes in the end over those struggles more impactful. So they're waiting until the last movie to try to find something for her to struggle with. Basically.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They're like, okay, how can we, actually write a story where we have the hero's story and make her struggle, but still fit every single one of these classic characters in somehow, just to, as like a fan service, whatever, when, from the beginning, they should have been doing it justice and doing that. I mean, you had it with Rey, living on a planet by herself as a, junker or whatever. There was a potential Force struggle there. I mean, you could have made it happen easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, hallmarks of Sith. Yeah. Cortana is talking about how basically she's a Sith. Like, she's taken the short route to power and stolen everything around her, which maybe makes sense considering her heritage, which we'll find out later. But then is where it cuts to the part we talked about where he meets Kylo. Palpatine orders Kylo to bring Rey to him and turn her unified, make it a unified force of darkness. Palpatine also reveals he's been amassing an armada of Star Destroyers equipped with Death Star tech, each one capable of destroying a planet on its own. So, higher, further, faster, or something like that. Just completely ramp it up, because we didn't complain enough when it was just one planet that was an enormous Death Star. Now it is every Star Destroyer in the fleet can destroy a planet.
So we have a Death Star, then we have a Death Star 2.0, and then we have mini Death Stars.
True. Well, we have a Death Star. We have a Death Star 2.0 in Return of the Jedi. We have a Death Star 3.0.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, God.
We had Death Star tech on the battering ram in The Last Jedi, so I don't even know what Death Star that would be, but I thought that these were manufactured in the days of the Empire. I mean, so if they had that technology then, why even build a Death Star? Just outfit all your Star Destroyers with this and you're good to go. I mean,
yeah.
It seems like a more efficient way to destroy planets.
Yes, instead of building one giant big ball that people could blow up.
And then you have travel time, of course, because that's always a pain in the ass.
Gas mileage sucks,
Yeah, I mean, we saw, them almost run out of gas in the last movie.
It only takes premium. You can't use regular. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then we've got a $5 super chat from David Harvey. Has it been explained yet how Luke Skywalker was able to travel to Ahch-To in his X-Wing without an astromech droid? No, it has not. I don't know why they would explain that. It's, who would ask deep, thought-provoking questions like that, David? David Hervey. I don't know why.
That's a great question.
Yeah, of course. And the other great thing is, we'll get to this later, but when everyone asks, why didn't Luke just take the X-Wing? Why didn't Luke just take the X-Wing to wherever it's at? And everyone made the excuse, well, it's been sitting in the water for years and years. Of course they can't use it. Well, turns out that Rey can use it after it's been sitting in the water for years and years. I don't know if she has BB-8 with her at the time or not. I don't think she does. I think it's just her. So she's probably going to be able to fly this X-Wing without an astromech as well.
Yeah, I mean, she was able to pull it out of the water and shake it off with the Force because that's how good she is.
Yeah, Force drying, Force blow dry.
Force
the lightning score.
Oh, yeah.
Charged up the circuits, and here we go, yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
Flux
Crisis averted.
And so evidently, and all the stuff in bold on the left are things that were changed after basically the first round of reshoots. Basically, they want Kylo to be volatile and angry, like shocking. That's what he's been. That's basically his character.
Since day one.
Right. And he threatens Palpatine. Palpatine doesn't really care about it because Kylo's a little bitch. But curt words are apparently traded back and forth. It's been indicated to me that Palpatine does not refute that he died on the Death Star when challenged, but he kind of responds in a "yet here I am" sort of way. So this new knowledge now changes my belief that it's the real deal Emperor and makes me believe this may have been an issue left a little more open-ended. But it doesn't go on. They don't actually explain anything about it. So maybe it's just to avoid anybody criticizing them. They just left it open into interpretation. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, 19K.
It's the benefit of being lazy, right? Just
the mystery box.
It's the mystery box. It's the smoke monster in Lost, right? It's magic, right? It's magic. I mean, listen, if you're going, there's a way that this could have been done that would have made sense. You didn't even necessarily had to bring back Palpatine. There could have been another Dark Force. You could have just focused on Rey and Kylo, and that be your central point of conflict. So they've needlessly convoluted this thing for the sticker, for the poster, for the merchandising. If you're going to do it, don't do it half-ass. Give us a reason why. And that's going to be another reason why we come out of this movie, I'm predicting. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, obviously. We're going to come out of this movie so unsatisfied because you delivered something without really giving us a reason why. I mean, just give us a reason, and then we can go through that and debate that. But for him to just say, well, here I am, it's like I'm Santa Claus. Well, then, where's my present?
Yeah, there has to be those cutback scenes. I mean, we even got some of that stuff like in the Lord of the Rings, where we got these like scenes where it would cut back to how Gollum, or how they got the information out of him, where the ring was in the Shire. Anyway, not to bring up Lord of the Rings, but my point being is we have to have some kind of reference, even if you take the extra 5 minutes, and it was almost like 3-hour movie almost. You can find 5 minutes to cut back every now and then and explain how that works out. And like you said, right, it's just lazy. If you're not going to give us a reason why he is in the state he's in, it means nothing.
And the problem is, I mean, the reason we demand this explanation is because you're telling us this is the last movie. This is it. This is the finale. We're shutting it down, boys.
I mean, since the first teaser, they've been telling us this is the last one.
Exactly. So then explain some things. I mean, if you are trying to close the book, if you're trying to cap the ends and wrap it up with a bow, then you need to explain these things. You can't just be ambiguous about this and then call it the last chapter. It's just, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. And Sith Lord Denta said that there's new leaks from VD Book. I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen those yet. These are all the Jedi Praxis leaks that have been pretty spot on so far, but I'll definitely take a look at that later. Let's see. We go and we find out that Finn and Poe are on the Millennium Falcon with a bunch of aliens, and they're traveling to an icy asteroid base, which we see the icy asteroid in the trailers. We've seen that several times. Let's see. This isn't really a big deal. They have this thing called Lightspeed Skip. Just making up some other thing. The First Order arrives and begins attacking the base. The assault forces our heroes to make a hasty exit. That's called a Lightspeed Skip. It involves making a jump to light speed without plotting a course or predetermined destination. As we all remember, making a jump to light speed without precise calculations could have dire consequences, like flying through a star, bouncing too close to a supernova, as we're told by Han Solo.
It's not like dusting crops, boy.
Yeah,
exactly. The Falcon makes a handful of these skips to throw the First Order off the trail, but the result, they are forced to deal with the consequences of such a risky maneuver. And that may be where we end up with the we saw that, like, them flying through the red area. I think that may be part of that. I guess we'll see. Maybe that's coming up here. But they go to some unknown place where they didn't know they were supposed to. But they go back and they all get reunited with Rey at the Resistance base. It's been told, and I've been told it's been added in reshoots, that Rey yells at Poe for damaging the Falcon while lightspeed skipping, and Poe yells at Rey for damaging BB-8.
BB-8 will be just fine. He'll be fine. Well, what'd you say?
He might have got his scomp link. He's got his scomp link destroyed, maybe.
Did like you say sexual tension. I think.
Yeah, the sexual tension there. Yeah. Poe and Rey, little another added story tidbit there, guys.
Yep. Wouldn't surprise me if they made those two kissy as well.
Yeah. And does she slap him? I don't know. But they also talk about. I skipped over a little bit, but when when Kylo and what's his name, Palpatine, are talking, that's when he reveals that of her lineage, that she is a descendant of him. She's the granddaughter of Palpatine.
And this is one of the rumors that were out, or one of the supposed theories out. Like, I think back when The Force Awakens was out, people were saying, "Oh, she's going to be related to Palpatine."
Well, and we had every theory. She was a Kenobi, she's a Skywalker, she's a Solo, she's everything, right?
She's because Kenobi, yeah.
That's what people do, right?
Yeah.
They take every single person, every single person that had any Force potential at all, basically. A Mace Windu interracial hookup or something. They tried to explain that one time. It just everything they could do. Anyone who would use the Force. And Palpatine was definitely one of them.
But this just sort of it's ridiculous to think that, I guess, Force powers skip a generation. I mean, you're telling me that his, I guess, son or daughter, whoever, Palpatine's direct descendant, they weren't Force sensitive, or they, in some way, that they wouldn't play a role in this somehow?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it skipping generations.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that her father / mother. I mean, and in a way, you could work that into this movie. That would be. That's sort of her weakness, right? Wanting to know who her family is.
Well, we just don't have enough. We just don't have enough information in this new Disney canon. I can tell you, the expanded universe, there were people who, just because their parents were Force sensitive, you do have a higher likelihood. But sometimes you're just not that Force sensitive. That's just how it is. Kind of like genes, right? Just because I have brown eyes and my wife has brown eyes, we could have a son that has blue eyes just because of
recessive genes, yeah.
Exactly.
Or the milkman, yeah.
Or the milkman, yes. Could have been the milkman.
Wow. I mean, and here's the thing too. I mean, you could do that. Like, if you were going to say, okay, she's the granddaughter of Palpatine. I mean, do that earlier in the movie, and you can, again, that fall from grace. You could play into, like you were saying, with the family aspect. She wants to know who her family is, finds out that this guy's her family. Does she have the strength to destroy him, kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, if you were going to do it that way, I think you'd want to get that out early in the movie, I think.
Wookiee Supremacy says, nah, she's her own granddaughter. There it is. There it is.
I mean, hard to argue with that logic.
Yeah, Adam Carlson, great point. And yeah, there were definitely plenty of examples in the expanded universe where there were people that weren't Force sensitive, even though they had lineage that was,
okay.
and people, kind of like in Harry Potter, like Muggle-born people. There were people that had no lineage that would be Force sensitive. It's just how it worked. And I explained that a little bit in my video I did, because there's an article that came out about J.J. Abrams and Daisy Ridley having an issue with midichlorians. So that's why they just ignored them completely for the sequel trilogy. And because there seems to be this because they were like, we think the Force should be for everyone, that everybody can use, that everyone can touch the Force, that it's a part of all of us.
You can't do that with something established.
That's not how the Force works.
Decide what rules you want to follow. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Especially in The Force Awakens, where Finn says, "We'll use the Force."
I mean, and they even talk about how the Force is, you know, like in the older movies, they talk about how the Force is, you know, it surrounds us, it binds us. Whether you have a scientific term for it being midichlorians, and people refer to it as the Force, like it's still around you, it's still there. It's just, are you able to manipulate it?
Yeah, and exactly, and it's, I feel like sometimes when people talk about midichlorians, it's like they get into this, spiritual versus scientific. I don't want the Force to be scientific. I want it to be spiritual. And it's not like, it is not, it doesn't have to be an either or. They're both sides of the same coin, right? You know, it surrounds us and binds us and it penetrates us, and everything that is alive, you know, the Force touches everything that's alive. However, the midichlorians are a way that you can establish someone's Force potential. That is the vehicle in which that happens. It doesn't mean that you still don't have the spiritual aspect of it. Right. It just means that there actually is an explanation. So, yeah. But anyway, back to these leaks. So evidently they find out that Palpatine and the Sith fleet exist and they need to stop it, but they need to find a wayfinder so that they can get there too. So another MacGuffin. That's basically what this whole thing is about MacGuffins. So Leia dispatches Finn and Poe along with Rey, Chewbacca, BB-8, and C-3PO to Pasaana. Evidently, Leia gives Rey her lightsaber back, and Maz Kanata is there to give Rey a pep talk. And Rey tells the crew that Luke left behind some notes and coordinates within the Jedi text she stole from the tree library that describe a Sith artifact that might help them. Yeah. So when they arrive on planet, they discover a giant festival is going on. Does that sound familiar to anyone?
Yeah.
Indoor? What?
Not necessarily that, but with the trailers that we've had.
The Burning Man that we saw.
Exactly. We literally saw this scene as they arrived there. Let's see. What they thought would be an easy mission is now surprisingly more complicated. They attempt to lay low, but Chewbacca struggles with blending in because he's 7 foot tall and a Wookiee.
There's that, yeah.
And throughout this whole thing, this is important. Rey gets accosted by someone who takes a liking to her, presenting her with a handmade necklace. She asks her name and she responds, Rey. When asked her family name, she responds, I do not have one.
Oh, so you're alone. So Rey Solo.
Oh, yeah. Nice one. Nice one. What is going on? Mary's talking about booty in chat. I do not know what's going on.
See, you had to say that.
Yeah.
Booty I don't show off. Well, that's good. Yeah. Stream over.
Yeah, exactly.
Railroaded.
So at this time, when she grabs the necklace, Kylo establishes a connection with Rey through their bond. So they still have this bond that was established where they can kind of see, they can see each other, they can talk to each other, they can communicate.
Wasn't that Snoke that allowed that did that though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because they both were like, how are we able to do this? And then Snoke says, he's like, that was all me.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that Snoke's gone, the connection still exists.
Because that was Palpatine all along. See, he was strings, puppet master.
There you go.
That's right.
Big voice in your head.
So, according to my contacts, this interaction consists of the following. Kylo antagonizes her about her parents leaving her and selling her, tells her she feels all alone. There's nobody who understands her except him. The conversation ends with Kylo grabbing the necklace. He analyzes the necklace on his Star Destroyer and finds out where it's from. So I don't understand how this fucking Force Link thing works. He's evidently grabbed the necklace.
Yes. You can now reach through the Force and take things. Yes.
But the thing is, remember when she shot him? Remember when she got scared and shot him, but it didn't touch him when they were doing their Force Link?
Just startled him.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and then it went through and surprised some little aliens.
But then he was able to. I guess his hand was wet when she was on Octu.
Exactly.
It was raining, so it's none of it makes any sense. It's not explained, but it doesn't have to be because it's JJ. So.
Jesus, man.
Oh, it gets you're gonna cover this. It gets even worse as we go on. The stuff that they're gonna do with this Force Link is just retarded.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, mentally handicapped.
Oh no, you're good. You're not Janoris Jenkins. We won't cut you from the team, Fox. Any football fans out there? There it is. Rey travels through the crowds in order to warn her friends about the First Order, because basically Kylo sees the necklace, is like, "Oh, this is from Pisana," and they realize they need to go to Pisana. Rey travels through the crowds to warn her friends. That's when First Order stormtroopers show up and ambush them. They're saved by someone in the crowd who escorts them to a safe area. That person is Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
So there we have our 82-year-old gender fluid man himself. Except he doesn't know what gender fluid means. He's just wandering around aimlessly.
I love that. People didn't people harass him? He was just like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
What the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about
he's like,
feminine side.
He's like, I got my colt. I'm good.
Exactly.
But even the ridiculousness of that, the way, okay, so Kylo reaches through the Force, okay, takes a necklace, and just looking at the necklace knows exactly what planet they're on. That's just, come on.
It says he analyzes the necklace on his Star Destroyer. So maybe he takes it to some of those same droids that Obi-Wan took Jango's dart to.
Oh,
they couldn't find out it was from Camino. He had to go to, Dexter for that.
Well, now if he goes to like a diner, and gets a sandwich and talks to a guy over coffee, I'll buy it.
Yeah. It belongs to them cloners.
Yes, exactly. So Lando tells them of a dagger that may help them find what they seek. So now they need a dagger to find the other MacGuffin. So they need a MacGuffin to find the MacGuffin. Or on EFAP, we started calling him McMuffin, I believe. But many years prior, Lando and Luke went in search of this dagger that was owned by a Sith loyalist named Uchi. Luke and Lando's quest for the Sith relics on Uchi. The dagger wasn't part of their search. Doesn't come into play till later. This isn't really a big deal. Just a little background on the dagger. Which, this whole dagger thing, again, we've seen it. The dagger comes into more play later, but this is the first time it's mentioned. And there's literally a trailer spot called The Dagger or something. Where
She's holding up
the dagger.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is all spot on. I don't know that we've come across anything so far that's run contradictory to what the leaks are telling us. I mean, the trailers are verifying every leak that we have. And what's sad is that it sounds ridiculous in the leak, but then the trailer makes it worse because the dagger looks like a Nerf dagger. It just looks ridiculous.
It does look a little out of sorts in the sets. Like I wonder, I mean, is this something that they've pulled from Legends, or is this something that they like, where does this come from?
Well, so there is a dagger it's not just from Legends. I mean, it's also in TCW, the Dagger of Mortis, which can be used to kill the father, the son, and the daughter. From that.
Right,
but that was more of like a sword. That wasn't just a.
Yeah, you're talking about from the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah,
the Clone Wars stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is a dagger. I mean, that is. The Dagger of Mortis is the first thing I thought of when these leaks talked about a dagger. Now we've learned a little more about it, and it's something a little different. I don't know if the idea was inspired by that or not, but that does exist in their canon.
Okay.
So
they could have used like the dark saber in this. I mean, something cool. I mean, I don't understand why go through this trouble to make stuff up that just looks out of place. Dig back into the lore and use something that exists. And then I don't know. I
agree with you. The dark saber stuff is so cool, and it's already got such a place within the mythos. Like, if they don't bring up black saber stuff in Mandalorian, I'll be a little upset. But they could do something like that.
That's a great point. Maybe we'll see that in the Mandalorian season 2 or something.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. And then it says that Lando points them in the direction. Oh, hold on. They tracked Lando to Pisano, or they tracked Uchi to Pisano when the trail went cold. But Lando's still there. He tells the team he had a young child at the time. When they were out searching for the dagger, the First Order stole his child. And he stayed on Pisano ever since. to find his daughter or something, to pick up the trail. I don't know. And then apparently Lando believes the First Order had a goal of turning the children and the heroes of the rebellion into their own enemies, a form of revenge. And we do hear a little earlier about them trying to find a bunch of children.
Right.
Like that's one of the things that General Hux and General Pride, General White Pride, I believe is his first name. If I had to guess based on this, based on the way the sequel trilogy is going, I believe his first name is likely White.
One of the things that I noticed in the leaks was that Lando stayed on the planet because he gave up. And I thought, well, here we go again. Another hero from the OT is just giving up. Giving up. We have deadbeat dads. We have Luke giving up. I mean, everybody's giving up. It's just another way to trash, established characters.
I mean, next will like when he's talking to Kylo or whoever he's talking with all those voices, it'll be like, I was controlling Jar Jar the whole time too, and then you'll hear Jar Jar's voice talking to the other characters,
See it.
Yeah. It was me the whole time.
Yes. So Uchi, as someone asked, Uchi is this random person who has this Sith dagger that Luke and Lando lost the trail of a long time ago. But this story strikes a chord with Finn because he was stolen from his own family at an incredibly young age as well. And of course, I imagine that you see Finn and Lando on screen, and you're probably supposed to assume something when he gets upset, but that's not the case. Finn is not Lando's child. That would have been too on the nose, I think.
I guess.
The sound of First Order ties can now be heard, and Lando is the one to deliver the "I've got a bad feeling about this" line, because that's in every Star Wars movie, so you got to have it.
It has to be.
I said, didn't Lando have that line? Didn't he use that line in Empire too? Maybe. I could be wrong.
Probably Return of the Jedi.
Something like that. I swear he's said that before. You gotta,
maybe. I can't really remember now that you say that. Lando points them in the last known coordinates of Uchi's ship where the trail went cold and wishes them luck. He basically says that I'm a relic now and I belong in the desert. I can't do anything to help you guys. So, but as they're going, the resistance group flees the area on speeders. They're chased into the desert by First Order with the Knights of Ren further behind them, who arrive on Pisana. We've seen that. We can fly now, or they can fly now.
Yeah.
Right. They've got the treadmobiles and all that shit. So,
those budget cuts, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
First Order. Yeah, they couldn't afford the hover technology at the time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jana, we're going to talk about Jana later, and yeah, she's the daughter of Lando. Spoiler alert, this is spoilers, so. Eventually, they happen upon Uchi's ship. When Rey sees the ship, it triggers some memories. It's the same ship that we see leaving Jakku in Rey's vision from The Force Awakens. So there's your connection. Before the implication of this can sink in, the ground beneath them gives out and the crew gets sucked beneath the surface of the sand. But there is something in here. When they get sucked in there, during this, Finn shouts to Rey, thinking they're going to die, that he has something to tell her. But they all get sucked down too quickly. When the team is sucked beneath the sand, Poe asks Finn and Rey if they're okay, to which 3PO apparently comments, "I didn't hear you mention my name, sir, but I'm also fine." Which that's kind of funny. I like that. And then Poe asks Finn what he was going to say to Rey in front of everyone, but Finn brushes it off and said they can talk about it later. What, like when I'm not around, just you and Rey? Says Poe. So maybe Poe is a little bit of a jealous lover or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably jealous of Rey.
That's what I'm thinking. I think he wants the
some of that Force booty.
Yeah. Some of that stormtrooper janitor booty, I think.
Yeah.
$2 super chat from Rosetta Allen. Thank you, Rosetta. I appreciate it. May your day be truly blessed. Continue the fight. Absolutely. Everybody continue the fight.
To be fair, though, Poe did give Finn his jacket, and that was very gentlemanly of him.
That is true. Well, he stole it, to be fair. And he said, "Hey, you can keep it. Looks good on you, buddy." So as this happens, they are in a series of underground tunnels where they just happen upon the remains of Uchi and the dagger.
Oh, what luck!
And it's discovered that Uchi was a Sith assassin. Rey, of course, feels a very strong connection to this weapon, but can't quite articulate it. Just like everything, she feels a strong connection to it.
Everything on the light side, everything on the dark side, a little bit in between.
Yeah, no problem.
They find the dagger among the remains, and Rey recalls that it was tradition for Sith assassins to inscribe secrets on them. Seems.
How does she recall that?
She recalls that it was tradition because evidently she learned that in the day of training she had as a Jedi.
I forgot that. Yeah, that one day. Yeah, I forgot.
The person who thought Luke Skywalker was a myth knows that Sith assassins used to inscribe secrets on the daggers they used to kill people.
She learned about Sith traditions in the ancient Jedi texts.
Gotcha. She's a speed reader, man. Come on.
She's a smart whammon. Okay, yeah. It's believable. It's believable.
Yeah.
Hey guys, 122 people watching us talk about these. Just going over the spoilers and the leaks and comparing them to the trailers and TV spots and all the other information that's come out. Just because we want to do a recap. This is my last stream probably before Rise of Skywalker releases. If you could smash that like button and share this stream if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it. You guys are freaking awesome.
Yes, that is awesome that everybody is here. Thank you guys for being here.
And also, subscribe to these two gentlemen. Subscribe to Ord, subscribe to 19K Fox. Their links are in the description. So yeah, take a second and sub to these guys because they're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greatly appreciated.
Whoops. So let's see, where'd I go? The dagger has a language on it that no one can identify. It's then handed over to 3PO, who identifies the writing as Sith language, but reveals he's unable to translate it due to restrictions in his programming. So he can understand it, but he can't tell them what it is. And I know we've got a couple people.
They couldn't have looked at the Jedi text. I'm sure if she learned about it, there's got to be some kind of, right?
She lost a decoder ring.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know there's some people in chat that were on, we're watching EFAP when it happened. And we determined that C-3PO is basically just looking for an N-word pass, likely. He knows what it says, but he's not allowed to say it. So we think that's what's happening here.
You ask Finn to leave and I'll tell you.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we had a lot of memes about that in that stream.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. According to the updated information, he can read it. He tells them that it reveals the location of the Wayfinder, but he just can't tell them what it actually says. Chewbacca takes possession of the dagger. Good thing, Chewbacca. Yeah, there you go, Darth Primus. And the group's attention shifts to finding a way out, but they run into a giant aggressive sandworm. And they're having a battle with it when Rey notices that the worm is injured. And a display of previously unknown power, Rey is able to heal the worm's injuries. Just immediately.
Oh, because why not? Right? That's sure.
Because the speed reading wasn't good enough. The day of training wasn't good enough.
I guess. Yep. So she's able to heal the worm's injuries. But they exit the cave and they see the First Order Star Destroyers in the sky. So I don't know how fast they got there. I don't know how long it took them to get to this cave. It seems strange to me. It seems very strange to me that, that
they just show up.
They just got there that quick. That's not really how fast you can travel across the galaxy. But, someone asked if I'm going to be on EFAP when Rise of Skywalker comes out. I would imagine that they probably have some bigger guests than me, Jay. But if they had asked me, I'd be there in a heartbeat. But I'd imagine they've got a lot bigger fish that they're going to have in there. But we have a $4.99 super chat from This Is Not Going to Go the Way You Think for $4.99. Insert Baby Yoda to validate Rey. That is what I've been saying. From the beginning,
Thanks,
think that's
Ben.
what they're doing.
You had to say Baby Yoda on Ryan's stream, didn't you?
Yes. But that's exactly what I've thought from the beginning. When we see him try to heal, when we see him pull that mud horn out, that they're doing this to explain the fact that Rey can do all this shit.
Sure.
So, Wu would never say the N-word right in front of Finn. Anyway, but yeah, the 3PO memes were pretty epic after that. But they now need to escape. In an act of desperation, the crew boards Uchi's ship and attempts to get it working. Rey senses Kylo's coming for her. Phrasing. So she takes off on her own to confront him. And that's where you see this TIE interceptor. When it's not really a TIE interceptor, it's just his different TIE fighter, his specialized TIE fighter, where she's running, and instead of, him shooting her because he has to capture her, that's probably the explanation, he just like chases her down as she does the flip over it.
Yeah.
Yep. While Kylo and Rey are engaged, the Knights of Ren and the First Order head for Uchi's ship and other heroes. Chewbacca splits off from the crew and attempts to delay the Knights, but are captured. So Chewbacca gets captured. The dagger's taken from him, and he boards a First Order prisoner transport. Rey and Kylo both notice Chewbacca taken captive, and on the transport, as the ship takes off, Rey begins to use the Force to stop the transport in midair and pull it back down to the ground. Kylo attempts to counteract this by pushing and trying to get it going. Let's see. Control of the ship becomes a battle. Kylo begins to gain the upper hand, which angers Rey. In her frustration, lightning shoots from her hand, destroying the transport ship and killing all its passengers.
I quit. I quit.
This is one of my favorite leaks. This is so awesome. She's healing worms that she never knew she was before.
God.
Inadvertently uses Force lightning as a reflex and blows up a ship. Come on,
man. There you go. Just blows up the ship with a Force lightning.
Just
unlimited power.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, what am I doing?
Devastated by what she does, she collapses. And I think you see this. There is a TV spot where they're in the desert, and she like looks at her hand. That's in one of the most recent TV spots. That's what I think that's for. So,
so Count Dooku wasn't really that awesome.
No, and what the reveal is like these past Jedi were whispering to her in her ear, teaching her this the whole time.
Maybe.
Extend your forefinger and index finger.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's see. While this is transpiring, they all get on Uchi's ship just in time to fly over and pick up a distraught Rey. I don't know why Kylo didn't just take her captive. I don't know quite what happens there. With no Lando, no Falcon, no Dagger, no Chewbacca, our heroes limp away. Just so you guys know, Chewbacca is not dead. He comes back later, so don't get too sad, guys.
Right.
Although I wish that he would have died. He needs to be put out of his misery. This Disney trilogy stuff isn't good for anybody. I'm okay with they kill Chewbacca.
Oh, no. We're all in this together. And they can't even commit to that. They can't even make that decision. They can't just say, listen, this is what we're going to do. And this is, just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, think of what that could have done, right? Because that could have an emotional payoff for Kylo Ren, who grew up with Chewbacca.
Well, right? We're not going to have that here. Nope.
Exactly. It could have had an emotional meaning for both of them right there. If he had died, definitely could have meant something. But
I don't want to take us too off track, but did anyone see the cartoon after The Force Awakens where it showed Chewie and little Ben Solo growing up together, and then it comes to that point where he sees him kill Han, and then he goes to take aim at him, and his crossbow is on his head, right? But then he gets a little weepy-eyed, and then he drops the bowcaster down and then just shoots him in the hip. I mean, there was some emotion there, and that could have been something. It's kind of sad that we didn't explore that at all.
That's true. Something's going on here in chat, Fox.
Yeah, I know.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
She's crazy. She's a crazy person.
So luckily, they don't need this dagger. Because, magically, C-3PO just remembers what's on. I guess not magically. He's a droid. That makes sense. So they go, Poe is like, hey, I think I know someone who can help us. And that's where Zori Bliss comes in, an old friend, Zori Bliss. So let's see. She reveals that Poe has a colorful past, once functioned as a spice runner and still owes her money. A quick skirmish occurs when Rey gets the upper hand, and Zori agrees to bring them to Babu Frick.
Hold on. So wait. So they're saying Poe used to do what now?
Once functioned as a spice runner. So he used to be a smuggler, basically.
You know, as far as I understand from the comics, didn't Poe's parents know Luke? I think they were friends with Luke. Luke actually gifted him a force tree, and Poe grew up with this force tree in his backyard.
What the fuck? I've never heard that before.
No, yeah.
I don't read the new shit though.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty whacked out. So to hear that, it's kind of odd. Like, don't you think like if Poe's parents knowing Luke, they would be some kind of staple in society, or like that? You know what I mean? They would have. They would be doing that job.
Luke tried to kill
always a New Republic pilot.
Right, say that again, 19K.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know. I always thought he was a New Republic pilot. I thought he was always in the New Republic. I didn't. Why?
And it would make sense that his parents knew Luke, and that's how he ended up, mixed in with all of that. But so he's a spice runner, huh?
Yeah.
Luke attempted to murder an innocent child. His friends are not to be trusted. That's what I would say.
Good point. Very good point.
Murdering Luke.
Yeah. So evidently he's got a colorful past. But Babu Frick is going to hack 3PO's programming to read the Sith language. Let's see. And evidently Kylo they've already tracked them to Kijimi, so they're hot on the trail somehow. Babu Frick tells everyone he can unlock the message, but 3PO's memory will be wiped. And this is where we see the thing where they're like, oh, well, I'm saying goodbye to my friends, all of that shit. We've known about that for a while, too. So that's from the leaks. Those were leaks for like in August or something before that scene came out. But Frick completes the hack on 3PO and is now able to read the message. That's where he has the red eyes. And the translated text points them to the location of the Emperor's own Wayfinder. Having served his purpose, 3PO's memory wipe begins and he shuts down. He reboots with a completely empty memory. This is where Zori and Poe, I don't even really care about this. They have some moments where they sit down and have a connection together. But Kylo's Star Destroyer again arrives at the planet, and Rey senses that Chewbacca is still alive. This is motivation for the crew to go up to Kylo's ship, not retrieving the Falcon. So this is where we see them arriving. A lot of people have been speculating. Like we saw that, we saw the recent trailer with the stormtroopers and them in the hangar. A lot of people noticed that wasn't their ship. This has to be that point. That's Uchi's ship.
Uchi.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, so you blew up the transport ship, but Chewie's okay. I mean, I don't.
That's what I don't understand. He just wasn't in that one. It was a mistake.
Whoops. Gotcha. You got Ryan Johnson.
C-3PO. I'm taking one last look, sir, at you three stooges.
I'm saying goodbye to my friends that I don't even know.
Oh, God. All right. Let's see. So Kylo spends much of... What is this? Where is this at? Oh, so Kylo's Star Destroyer arrives at the planet and Rey senses that Chewbacca is still alive. Kylo spends much of this time antagonizing Rey. Some of this conversation revolves around her parents, the truth behind the dagger. It was used to murder her parents. Many years ago, Uchi was sent to murder Rey's parents who were trying to hide her from the galaxy. When Uchi succeeded, leaving her parents as nobody, blah, blah, blah. They left her behind on Uchi couldn't find her to kill her, so he left her behind on Jakku. That's what Rey remembers, the ship leaving in wake of her parents' murder, not her parents abandoning her. So it all goes back to Force Awakens. Must have been the plan all along.
Man.
Rey lashes out at Kylo during this bond. Their lightsabers clash. Again, physical contact during this bond.
Through a bond, right.
Just absolute insanity. As Kylo makes his way down the planet, our heroes... God, all of this is like messed up. And so here's making our escape. We see Palpatine's orders to Hux and Pride are being carried out as children are being rounded up by the First Order. So our heroes escape on Uchi's ship. they go to the Star Destroyer to recapture the Falcon. So that's why they're on the Star Destroyer. They find Chewbacca. They save Chewbacca. And they get the Falcon, which is, you see Rey jumping towards the Falcon. Exactly. So that's when they're escaping the Star Destroyer.
Because she can fly now.
Of course.
Yeah, Mary Poppins, man. Leia taught her how to do it.
Let's see. Kylo initiates another Force bond. He discovers that she's in his Star Destroyer, and a lightsaber duel breaks out across 2 different locations. God, more lightsaber fights between Kylo and Rey. Where did I want to go? This stuff doesn't matter too much to me. I don't think we're going to have time to cover everything in detail. But we do find out the information gleaned from 3PO's translation of the dagger writing leads to the location of a second Wife Finder device that's on board the wreckage of a second Death Star on the forest moon of Endor. And a quick question, you guys. When you first saw that scene of what looked like to be the wreckage of the Star Destroyer, what did you think?
Oh, you take it. And I didn't really have any thoughts about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I just trying to take it all in, and I'm still trying to process some of that stuff.
Well,
take it away, 19K.
It's to see portions of wreckage would sort of make sense, maybe, but to see giant, even to see large pieces wasn't a big deal. When I saw that the freaking throne room is still intact, it's just, come on, you know. So that's unbelievable. But I was really, what got me about that first shot or scene is that we see, it sounds epic. You know, we have our hero and our villain, lightsaber battle on top of Death Star wreckage, and I'm just so detached. I don't even care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, there would probably, like you said, there would be some wreckage, but I mean, I understand that, you know, space in Star Wars world doesn't work like space in our world, right, but I mean, you would think that like it would either be blown out into space, and there would be some, you know, I mean, with planets exchanging rocks all the time,
sure,
there would be some wreckage, but yeah, to have an intact throne room and to be as much there as possible, as much as that's there, like it does, that seems very far-fetched.
And the explosion was pretty cataclysmic. I mean, you go back and you watch that. I mean, the Death Star wasn't even complete. So, I mean, if the first one was completely destroyed by basically the same attack, there's no way, there's no reason I would think that large chunks would still exist. And if they would, why wouldn't they just be floating in space?
You're right, right.
It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
You see it blow to smithereens.
Yeah. Like sparks and dust, literal sparks and dust.
Nothing left of it. Right. And you can't, like, I could believe little chunks of metal are raining down on Endor and everywhere like that. Not massive things. That's like, it looks like an eighth of the Death Star, like sitting there.
Well, wouldn't that be a planet killer? Or we've, you know, like, if you like dinosaurs, we've always heard the stories of, you know, this roughly the size of the asteroid hit the Earth and it wiped out all life on this planet. It wasn't that big. I mean, so if you're looking at a chunk this large, entering the atmosphere, not burning up,
yeah,
smacking into the ground. I mean, wouldn't that have like wiped out? So
yeah,
we've had the party on Endor because everybody would be dead.
And we're talking about like only 35 years. That's not enough time for life to repopulate and, you know, an entire planet, or at least a huge portion of the planet.
And we were on Endor at the end of Return of the Jedi. I mean, it was. So what? I mean, should there be like just stuff raining down?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been just like, oh my god, like this shockwave, just like wipe everybody out. Maybe that happened after the credits.
It's like it's like the end of Rogue One, where everybody's like partying, and all of a sudden it's just you're gone.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah,
they all die,
guys. So we only got 15 minutes to party, guys. Let's do this real quick.
Exactly. Lost Jedi makes a great point. So massive pieces fell intact, and rebels were too hungover from Ewok dance party to bother investigating.
Now we'll get to it later.
Effectively, yes. And yeah, I agree. Right? They would be destroyed in the atmosphere. Like at least, if something that big, if it really happened, that would probably not be destroyed in the atmosphere, because it's that big. We saw like something relatively that same size in the ship. I forget the name of the ship that Anakin and Obi-Wan crash land in Revenge of the Sith, right? That enters the atmosphere at an uncontrolled rate.
Sure.
So
yeah, and somebody like the Empire, or the Emperor, I don't see him just being okay existing in some wreckage. Like, you would think he would be in some Imperial bunker that was built as a secondary plan. Like, if he's been planning this whole thing out, why would he be okay held up in some wreckage? He'd be in some kind of Imperial bunker somewhere that our hero characters have to fight to get into.
Yeah. I don't know.
That would require thought, though, Jordan.
Oh yeah, well,
we don't do that here. No,
I'm sorry.
Oh, mystery. Smoke monster.
Yeah. I'll power down now.
Power down.
Oh, we did miss a little spot. There's a thing where there's this little subplot of a mole in the First Order, and 152 people watching. Thank you guys. Smash that like button. Share the stream out.
Love to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you subscribe to these two guys right here. Links are in the description. But we skipped over a little subplot where there's a mole in the First Order, and it turns out to be General Hux.
Oh yeah.
So
because he's been a rat this whole time.
Right.
Well, what I think that the way they're going to explain it is that Hux is probably, because he hates Kylo. He's always freaking hated Kylo. He probably he probably didn't like what was going on with Kylo, or didn't want him to succeed, and that's when it started happening, hoping that maybe he could take over. He gets executed at one point, and General White Pride ends up taking over. So
King of the Crackers.
And I actually didn't mind Hux's character. I thought, like, in the first one, he was as dopey as he looks. He was a pretty angry character. He was pretty upfront, and then the second one, Rian Johnson just made him look like a sad little General. That's good.
He definitely had the Tarkin thing going on in the first,
right.
But where it was different, where Tarkin and Vader sort of were equals, Hux had the advantage. And it was kind of a unique dynamic. But once again, let's not explore that. Let's just flush that. But didn't they do the whole mole thing in Rebels?
Which thing was that?
This whole mole thing, within the First Order.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Blocked a lot of Rebels out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hated Rebels so much.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's trash.
It's okay. That's their season one was good.
Was in it, dude?
Yeah. Which here's my thing with
the
it.
Lightsabers? I don't know if you saw they had lightsabers in it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And Vader shows up like what?
Remember Vader? Vader was in it. He was totally in it. Twice.
The only reason, well, not the only reason. I think the reason people like Rebels so much is basically just because of the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars characters, because of Ahsoka, because of Rex, because of Vader. That's my opinion.
Right on. Yeah, no, I enjoyed most of it. I haven't finished season 4. Maybe it's not as good. I haven't been as eager to watch it, but that first season I really enjoyed. There
you go. But anyway, so that is a little subplot, and General Pride takes over and starts collecting the chillins. But on their way to the Death Star wreckage, they just happen to come in contact with a person named Janna, who happens to be Lando's daughter. Small galaxy, I suppose. Small galaxy. It's revealed that she was press ganged. I don't know if you can look that up on Pornhub. Press ganged into First Order service as a child, but eventually escaped and found her way to Endor, where she's been living for some time. At this time, it's revealed that she is the child that Lando lost to the First Order all those years ago, and she provides Rey with transportation. Let's see. Finn and Janna apparently chase after Rey to and onto the Death Star wreckage, which is probably where we see Finn jumping and screaming Rey. Let's see. She begins climbing her way through the Twisted Remains. It feels very reminiscent of when she's climbing through all the shit on Jakku. She eventually comes to the throne room and discovers a chamber connecting with a second Wayfinder. Another MacGuffin. She approaches the object and picks it up, which induces visions of a possible future. That's where we see the dark side Rey.
She can't touch anything without seeing a Force vision.
That is so freaking
literally. Like I can't touch a door handle without seeing a Force vision.
Yes, absolutely.
She goes to the bathroom. I can't imagine what she sees.
Oh yeah.
God, who knows what alien's been taking up there?
Well, I know she
see that.
She touched his keyboard. She'd have some scary visions, man.
This is the hell that Rey has to live with every day. We don't appreciate her, guys.
Yeah. That's her real struggle. Is every time she touches a toilet seat, she lives through every person that's gone before.
Oh God!
To pee. Oh God.
Well, this vision shocks Rey, and she stumbles back into the throne room where Kylo Ren is waiting for her. Kylo takes possession of the Emperor's Wayfinder and destroys it, saying that the only way is to go through him and take Vader's. Another lightsaber battle ensues. I think this is the fourth one.
Ooh, good.
And yes, buy one, get one McMuffins, just like McDonald's. That is right, Brianna. So many McMuffins in this. Eventually transition to exterior wreckage among the crashing waves. This is so stupid. Off in another part of the galaxy, while Kylo and Rey clash sabers, a bright light in the universe begins to fade. Leia is dying. Leia is dying, guys.
Oh,
I'm not sure why, but Leia's dying.
Because the movie has to happen.
So
I'm just worried about how they're gonna do her, like how they're gonna put her in with these other scenes they've had from, you know, the cut footage from Force Awakens and all that, and then the CGI stuff, which I thought they did okay with Tarkin for the most part. I mean, when they did it, was at Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
They did it. It was okay.
Complete recreation, though. That's not what this is.
Right. Yeah, but you know that they're gonna be adding some of the CGI on top of her. It terrifies me.
You know, it was so funny because, you know, when Carrie Fisher died, one of the things I was thinking of was, man, this is going to be a train wreck for them to force this plot, you know, with Carrie Fisher just cobbling together this used footage. Ever since then, everything is coming out. That's like the least of my worries anymore. Yeah. Is the idea that was originally, because this was supposed to be a big Leia movie, evidently, which forced a lot of rewrites, and it is just insanity. Some of this stuff that we have going on, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, she doesn't just die on a rock like Luke did, you know?
Well, she just starts dying. She's got a little bit of her mother in her, evidently. She just loses the will to live.
Well, it happens. It's genetic. You know?
Exactly. So originally, Luke was the voice of Luke was supposed to come to her, but evidently Luke's appearance to Leia before death has been cut out. I've told her it's just a voiceover, but it's gone at the moment. Let me make sure. Let me make sure that's not here. Yep, not here. Okay. As their battle rages on, both Kylo and Rey sense the death of their respective mother and mentor. Palpatine also senses her death, more confident that Rey will now turn. They both react, but Rey recovers from the shock sooner and leverages the moment to take Kylo's weapon from him and stab him through the chest. In the aftermath, Rey declares to Kylo, "I will never be like you and follow the dark side, even though I just took advantage of you while your mother was dying."
Sorry, not sorry.
But luckily, she exercises her newfound healing ability to save Kylo, steals his ship along with Vader's Wayfinder device, and takes off, leaving her enemy behind.
Oh my God. Okay, so let me stab him, and then I'll heal him so that, you know, it means nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And then to further it, keep going because I know what's next.
Yeah, and then you have a moment of I feel like I need to sneeze. But I can't. Damn it.
Oh, that happened to me the other day for like 30 minutes. Dude, that was bad.
So luckily, she exercises her newfound ability to heal Kylo and save him from death, steals his ship along with Vader's Wayfinder, and takes off. The remainder of the Resistance crew boards the Falcon, and they take Janna along with them because, hey, why not? Let's, make sure that, Lando can get to see his daughter again. I don't know why she just decided to stay on Endor all these years. Maybe they'll explain it. But broken and defeated, Kylo Ren remains on the wreckage of the second Death Star when he is visited by a vision of his father. And this is where some of the new information comes into play. After Kylo is stabbed, Han shows up out of nowhere. Not a Force ghost. It's as if he's standing there alive again. He gives Kylo some words of encouragement, and then their conversation very closely mirrors Han's death scene in TFA, including the "I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it" line. He even holds the lightsaber in the same spot when he turns and throws it in the water direction of the Death Star.
That line is the new I've got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the new line. That'll be in every single Star Wars entity going forward.
Yeah, it just God. And then basically Han Solo says never too late to turn the light. This conversation has a profound effect, and he walks away from the identity of Kylo Ren. Now, we transition to Ahch-To. Rey leaves. She returns to the island of Ahch-To, which we see. We see some of this in the trailer. We see this whole thing burning. We see her on the island. Again, all these things are confirmed through these trailers. And speaking of that, I forgot something to talk about earlier. This is the leaks of now these are not confirmed completely. I have not been able to confirm these, but this is the leak of the supposed soundtrack that leaked for Rise of Skywalker. And you have some things here like To the Old Death Star, Off the Waterfront, Final Saber Duel, Healing Wounds, Advice. All these things are like straight up exactly what we've been told.
Yeah,
exactly what the leaks are. They follow along. So I just wanted to point that out real quick because I forgot about it for a second.
That final track, did you see the name of that final track? A New Home.
A New Home instead of A New Hope.
Yeah, let's play more off the classics. Let's do that.
And it's on Tatooine too. Surprise, we're finally back at real Tatooine. Let's see. So this is kind of long, but her most recent encounter. Okay, so throughout the course of the film, she's given into her aggression, nearly killed her friend, learned she's a descendant of a Sith Lord, saw a vision of herself as a servant of darkness, stabbed Kylo through the chest. She has made the decision to follow the example set by Luke and exile herself on the island where the Jedi began. She destroys the ship she stole from Kylo and throws the repaired lightsaber originally constructed by Anakin after it. But unlike in The Last Jedi, where Luke throws the lightsaber, a hand suddenly reaches out and catches the lightsaber. And it is Luke, because Force ghosts, again, just fucking interact with everything, evidently. Despite Obi-Wan saying that he can't help him in a duel, despite all the things that would be useful for a Force ghost to fucking do, evidently Force ghosts can just interact with things. And 200 people watching. Thank you guys. Make sure to like the stream, share this out there, get everybody in here. We're having a party. We're having a leak party. And make sure you subscribe to these two wonderful gentlemen below me. So the ghost of Luke Skywalker appears to Rey, and they have a conversation that's grim. Luke knows firsthand what it's like to face Palpatine. It says here that they knew that Rey was a Palpatine all along. Let's see. Luke catches the lightsaber. Luke apparently says something about how this is something that shouldn't be discarded, just like he did.
But remember, you got to let the past die.
Exactly.
Was he paying attention to the movie he was in? Where he threw the exact same freaking saber over his shoulder?
Well, we've talked about this. The JJ's kind of throwing a lot of shade at Rian Johnson. A lot of the stuff that we've seen and a lot of his interviews, he hasn't been like shitting on it, but he's definitely shown that he was not happy with the way it went. A lot of the actors have said they weren't happy with the way The Last Jedi went. And I think a lot of this shows that. There's a line earlier where Palpatine is like making fun of Kylo, saying, "Let the past die, because here I am." Yeah. I think there's a little shade. Maybe there'll be something we could enjoy that, I guess.
It's like JJ had these boxes where he's like, all right, we gotta fit the old characters in. We gotta, make Rey make sure she's awesome, and then we've gotta, make fun of Rian Johnson at the same time, because that's what he did to me. He took all my stuff away, so we got to do that back to him too. And I think that's where it starts to become convoluted.
Yeah, I think so too. God, it's so fucking stupid. But Rey, basically, they draw the parallels to like Luke had to confront Vader, Palpatine needs to confront her, her father or grandfather, Palpatine. Luke encourages Rey by telling her the faith Leia had in her, as she saw the potential within her and hoped Rey would be able to restore the balance of the Force once more, just as Anakin once did, just a couple years ago. Rey supposedly asked to speak to Leia, but Luke responds by telling her Leia has not yet completed her training. And there is something in here like it says here, that Luke and Leia both know of Rey's heritage. I don't know how the fact that she's a Palpatine didn't come up at any fucking point in time. Maybe when Luke was like, wow, you have a darkness in you. He seems surprised by that, knowing that she's a Palpatine.
I just pretend like he didn't know who she was. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It really is. I mean, he should have taken a lot of precautions. If that was the case, then in The Last Jedi, he should have, really guarded her, maybe shrouded her, maybe made sure that she didn't go to the dark side. I mean, regardless if he was turned off from the Force or not, he should have seen the potential for the evil that was within her and done something to. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Luke Skywalker, not Jake Skywalker. Never mind.
Yeah. And so there is also a flashback scene of Luke and Leia training, like Luke training Leia when she's younger before she gives up the Jedi training and everything. I don't know. That must have been already filmed because, they said they weren't going to recreate her in any way other than with previously used footage. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. I
mean, of all the things that have a flashback scene, why couldn't we get a flashback of Luke in his prime?
Yes.
Why can't that be? I mean, why can't that be a flashback scene? Not a scene of Leia stopping her training. We're going to go back so we can see when she quit.
I'd even like to see something of like Luke maybe trying to train himself with new abilities and stuff,
Sure.
Or even just teaching young Jedi would be cool. Just something. Yeah, that would have been great, man.
In his academy, when the academy was in its infancy or maybe in its prime, or
right.
You have kids running around and it's sunshine outside. It's not death and dark and on fire and burning,
Yeah.
Not that.
And I feel like it would have been more to our heart if they would have added some stuff in there in the last two movies. I'm kind of just thinking back to that idea of yours with the flashbacks, like just these flashbacks. I mean, we did get flashbacks, but I mean, we still don't know why, or what the Knights of Ren are about. We still don't know any of that stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, the Flash, I think they needed to add more of those, but they needed to add different ones, not necessarily what we got.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. But by the end of the conversation, Rey is re-energized for the seemingly insurmountable task. Having destroyed the ship she came in, Luke raises his own X-wing and to allow Rey to face Palpatine. In addition to the Starfighter, Luke gifts Rey with a lightsaber that once belonged to Leia, which he kept in a little hut on his on Ahch-To. And Rey boards the X-Wing and goes to Exegol using Vader's Wayfinder. Let's see. There's a part here, even though we thought that Chewbacca was dead, Chewbacca wasn't actually dead. They subverted our expectations. We thought that C-3PO his memory was wiped, but it turns out that R2 has a backup memory that is restored. So, it's just no real risks, I suppose. They're just trying to get you to this emotional connection, but it doesn't actually take effect.
No consequence whatsoever.
Yep. And so they are gathering people because they need to go to Exegol and stop this huge fleet. Lando comes. He knows where the jungle base is, evidently, somehow. He wants to come and help. Seeing that everyone's at a loss for what to do, Lando tries to give Finn some hope. Everyone's upset that Leia's dead. Chewbacca cries. And then one thing here, when Rey leaves Ahch-To, she actually does transmit the path to Exegol for the Resistance because they don't know where to go. Rey transmits it to them. There's initial confusion as they're receiving a transmission from Red 5 because she's leaving in Luke's old X-Wing. But they figure out a way to get there. Lando leaves on the Falcon to get more forces. The rest of us just mobilizes and heads after Rey. She goes to Exegol. She walks this whole same path that Kylo walked to get to Palpatine. Palpatine. Oh, hold on. Palpatine's in a huge open air area surrounded by Sith loyalists. And this is, likely what we see, that throne room part. Palpatine's being supported by some kind of mechanical arm. The sky above the stadium is filled with Star Destroyers, soon to be embroiled with conflict. it's basically, they say that it's the same thing, that Palpatine truly wills Rey to strike him down in anger. Palpatine reportedly acknowledges he extended a very similar offer to Luke years ago, but on that day, Luke had his father to save him. Rey has nobody. She tries to resist, but slowly begins to lose her resolve. So literally just a rehash of, the throne room scene from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then here's a couple other things here. When Rey gets exiled, she wanders in. Palpatine emerges on the mechanical arm. Everything to her, including the assassin, meant to retrieve her, not to kill her, because he never wanted her dead. And goading, while Palpatine goading Rey into killing him, he points out the fleet, claiming she could become Empress Palpatine. Very intriguing. Very intriguing.
As if she wasn't powerful enough.
Yes. But then, this is a little more talking, but the important part, Kylo, now Ben, enters Exegol and gets his ass handed to him by the Knights of Ren until about to strike at Palpatine. Rey initiates a bond and gives him Leia's lightsaber.
That's what I was waiting for.
Which, now do you guys remember when we saw that? You remember the picture?
No.
Let's see if I can find it.
No, there's actual pic. Great. That's great.
Yeah.
This is when, for me, when I was reading the leaks, it was at this point I just gave up there's no hope. There's absolutely no hope. What are we doing? There's no conflict. There's no struggle. If we can just, at any point, if I can just, establish a link and give you I don't know, snack cakes or a lightsaber or like some water. I mean, why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. And here you go. There's a picture of them standing. This leaked a long time ago, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
That picture of both of them standing there with blue lightsabers.
Yeah.
So again, it leaked forever ago. We do have a $5 super chat from Jaegerbomb. Does Revenge of the Sith Rise of Skywalker? I think you mean outwoke The Last Jedi, or The Last Jedi still most woke Star Wars film? At least with Rise of Skywalker, we're not getting sucked into the cinema. No hope, no problem. That's true. I don't think any of us are too interested in actually seeing this. That's a huge positive. I completely agree with that. Outwoke. I do think that probably The Last Jedi is probably going to have more identity politics. This one just seems like it's going to be even more mess of a movie. With all the things that they're trying to put, it seems like 3 movies jammed into one.
I know he has a huge task of trying to right the wrongs of 8, so I don't want to completely crap on him, but at the same time, he's doing things from what we've seen in these leaks that make the movie more convoluted than it has to be. And it raises so many other questions. If you can establish a link and just give someone an object, there's really no stakes in anything. Because why couldn't Leia establish a link with Rey and give her whatever she needs throughout the entire film? I mean, any other Force-sensitive person, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I don't even... It's kind of like, you've heard it been said, it's kind of like the Game of Thrones leaks. Like, we don't think that it could be as bad as it is.
Right.
But then it is. Is that picture real? Yeah, it's real, man. I know people didn't think it was real, but I guess it's not confirmed until we actually see it in real life. But based on the leaks, that's what happens.
Right. Those pictures have been out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And the one of Palpatine shooting lightning into the sky, which that'll come up here too.
Yeah.
Let's see. As the battle between the First Order Empire rages in the sky, Rey gives him the Emperor's commands and decides to strike him down. That's when Ben walks in and gives her the support they need. Palpatine speaks about the bond they share and how extremely powerful and rare it is for it to occur. He then sucks their life to restore his, and we see his white eyes turn the yellow-orange Sith style, which goes back to Ord's. What were you talking about for the Swedish leaks?
I don't remember. Were you talking about what were we talking about? Help me out here.
Exactly. You were saying the Swedish leaks where it sucks the life essence, right?
Yeah. Yes. That's what they were talking about. Just like in that movie Hocus Pocus. I don't. It's weird. we don't have any explanation as to why he would need to do that. Like, I don't know. There's no explanation that this force ability even exists, is there? I mean, the ability to essentially drain someone's essence.
Well, I mean, in this canon, not that I know of, in the expanded universe, you know, they've got a lot of lore and history of dark side powers that are similar to that. However, we haven't seen it in this Disney canon.
I'm gonna say, and I don't even think it's referenced in any of the new comic books and stuff too. Yeah, so it's like cherry picking stuff from the legends and just throwing it in there with no explanation. I don't know who said that, but lazy writing, man. It's just straight lazy.
It's the blessing and the curse of flushing the EU. I mean, sure, you can draw on some of it, but if you're going to say that the EU isn't canon, well, now you can't just mention something from the EU because now that explanation for that thing you're referencing is not there because you just said the EU doesn't exist. So now you have to re-explain it within the confines of the new universe you've set up. So don't flush the EU. Just reference it, leave it intact, and if anyone is curious about that, they can just dig into the EU, and there you go.
All right, and more to the lazy writing. It's like we'll just fix it in a comic book, or we'll fix it in a novel. We'll retcon something else in, and it's again lazy. Like I said, it's like he's got these points he's trying to make. Or I've got this list of things that I got to hit, and we're going to hit all of these things, whether the movie's cohesive or not.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Just such a mess, man.
It really is. I mean, there's some things that are in the interview with Ian. I don't know if you noticed the background, but it looked like a bantha tank or maybe some of the clone chambers that we saw in like the Force Unleashed, and some of the Camino stuff. I mean, there was a lot of that going on. I like to see some of that used. That would make more sense to me than sucking the life force out of someone.
Right.
You know, transfer would make a little more sense.
Right. Yeah. Like you could, like I said, throughout the years, he could be, using bodies to just build his machine to sustain his, spectral form or whatever. And then he needs, let's just say Rey and Kylo Ren in order to essentially take over their bodies to then, like he's saying Empress Palpatine,
right.
Whatever.
Right. They become the new host for him being the parasite.
Right.
Yeah. And, I think I don't know how much you're going to go into it. Like I said, that they've only got so much time. They got so much to try to explain away in this movie because they basically did nothing the first two movies, unfortunately. But at this point, there's actually a battle in the sky over Exegol with all these Star Destroyers. There's not super, they're not in super details because it's just a huge battle. You have moments with some of our characters. Finn and Janna, joined by others, land on White Pride's flagship to destroy it. They want to save the children, of course. Just like Finn gets to save the horses, whatever those things were.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Space horses.
Forces. Having returned to full strength. Now, this is this is what happened before the reshoots. So this is where I think is very interesting and what people are going to be talking about a lot.
Yeah.
Having returned to full strength, Palpatine then shoots lightning into Ben, forcing him to fall into a bottomless abyss, never to be seen again. Kylo's dead.
Wait a minute.
That's the difference.
He fell into the abyss and he's fine. What the hell?
Well, yeah, that's true. They must have forgot about that.
Oh, that's the new sequel, the new trilogy. Robotic Kylo. Gotcha.
And I think, doesn't he sacrifice himself to save Rey apparently?
Well, that's the new part that we're going to get into. The most recent one leaked about a week ago.
Okay.
So leaving them, Sidious then shoots light into the sky of the Resistance ships, which is another leaked photo we saw at the same time that we saw the double lightsaber one.
Yeah.
Now, Rey reportedly lies on the ground and begins to concentrate calmly but hard. She reaches out to the Force, asking for help, and finally begins to commune with the Jedi out of the past. I'm being told among the voices she hears during this time are Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, among others, and finally Leia. Now, we also, from the new ones, the new person says Yoda, Luke, Leia, Mace Windu, and others. So probably including Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Now, what happened this week? J.J. Abrams teases Ahsoka Tano cameo in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, God.
Again, all this shit is true. These fucking leaks are all true, guys. I swear. 233 people watching this. Maybe more people than will go see this movie. Make sure you smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And subscribe to these two gentlemen right here because they deserve it. They put out great content. But, we had here J.J. Abrams say, Ahsoka, well, then you'll probably want to watch closely during Rise of Skywalker.
Part of me thinks he just said that just to throw people off. I think if these leaks are to be true, he's going to do everything he can to try to get people to like not believe what's going on here.
Right.
Yeah, he gets paid. He gets paid to say these things.
But it just, from what we've seen, nothing surprises me. I mean, all the Jedi could step out of the freaking Force and all wield lightsabers and all fight Palpatine at the same time at this point, and I wouldn't bat an eye. Just keep eating popcorn.
The problem is, why aren't they? You open up so many questions.
Sure.
When Yoda is interacting, when he's knocking people on the head, when he's calling Force lightning down to burn the ancient texts,
right?
Like, what is going on here? What can't you do? You're breaking all these rules. Why didn't these Force ghosts interact with anything before?
It's like with the Marvel movies, the problem they created was, well, why didn't, if Iron Man's doing this over here, why didn't Captain America come help him out? I mean, if you're going to say that you can pass lightsabers to each other, if you're going to say, like you said, Ryan, that Force ghosts can just come into the earthly world and interact with people and things, well then, yeah, I mean, why not have this big, stupid final scene where every Jedi that we know just steps out of the Force and they just do like a Force lightning Kamehameha wave and they all just, blow him up in this big explosion. I mean, it just...
Yeah, and if that's the case, then why do we need Rey to do anything?
Right. Maybe she's the channel. She's the chalice that harnesses all their power and then just is able to defeat him. For real this time, though, guys, for real. Not like last time when he almost died. This is like real...
We know all you guys were really worried at the end of Return of the Jedi. We were all really wondering what was going to happen to Palpatine after that.
Yeah,
we're finally getting an answer.
Because I'm thinking, dude, he could pull through. He could totally pull through. That fall didn't look that bad.
Nah,
not the explosion, nothing. Nah, we're good.
He's gonna make it.
Well, he just burst into confetti. It's okay.
Why is Ahsoka talking to her? Ahsoka's not a Jedi. That's what she just said. She said it in the end of Clone Wars.
I mean, yeah, she
said it again in Rebels.
Yep. Yeah, she did. She said it both times that I left the Jedi Order. I'm no longer a Jedi.
Yes.
And I believe her sabers are white, aren't they? The two sabers she has are white.
White or yellow? Yeah, I think.
Well, when she was in the Jedi Order as a Padawan, she was green and yellow.
Yeah,
and I think her sabers are white now.
The last scene in Rebels, I did see that where she's just gray. So I guess she's just gray. So she's indifferent, right? Why would she be speaking to anybody through the Force?
Yeah, I don't know. Did she complete there's so many questions. What's really going on? We all know what's really going on is they're taking, like Lost Jedi said, they're taking every character that you have any inkling of care for, and they're jamming it in this to try to draw people because it's all they have left.
Yep.
And we know that.
I mean, yeah, you look at the toys that sell. The only toys that seem to sell are the original trilogy toys. The Luke Skywalker stuff, the Princess Leia stuff. And then a few years ago, Disney stopped manufacturing like Slave Leia stuff too. That's another thing. But they're just taking stuff away, man.
Yeah, and so let's see. Originally, the ghosts of Luke and Leia came to her aid during this, but that got rewritten. They're no longer seen, but the Jedi generations past are within her spirit. Essentially, they're helping her. So it gives her the strength to stand up. Palpatine tries to lightning her, but she blocks with one of the sabers, seemingly stalemates them. She then finds the strength to pull the other saber to her. So Leia's lightsaber make an X formation, and this allows her to deflect lightning back toward him.
X gonna give it to you.
Yes, exactly. Got the Wonder Woman.
I love it. Hey guys, what are they doing in other movies that are successful? Let's do that too.
Bing.
Yeah. And then Palpatine apparently disintegrates and explodes, causing the arena to crumble. And then here's this new information, but also killing Rey. So before, Ben fell down the pit, never to be seen again, and Rey survives. This one, evidently, people didn't like that during the screenings. People didn't react well.
They're going to kill Rey now?
They killed Rey.
Oh.
So,
she go.
But Ben apparently climbs out of the pit, finding a dead Rey, and decides to give his life for her.
So what?
He uses the healing trick to save Rey. He just watched her do it, and he can do it now.
I have been waiting for you to get to this, man. It's essentially everything that Rey has done to this point, like healing Kylo after she stabbed him, is essentially pointless. So that huge plot point is pointless because he dies at the end of it anyway.
It's why change the ending? Because at the ending, you still have the same. You're still left with the same result, right? Kylo's dead and Rey's alive. So no, we've got to kill Rey. But wait, gotcha. Here comes Kylo climbing out of a bottomless pit, and then he sees her and he's going to give his life to her. It's so needlessly convoluted. Why does that have to happen that way?
Die twice, yeah.
This is it right here. So Brian C.S. Wright, Rey can die. She's not a Mary Sue. That's what they're saying. That's what I think they're saying, right? Is that because when they first went in, we heard this reaction. Now, in some of the Doomcock leaks, we got told that in one of these endings that basically Rey just stomped the shit out of Palpatine and Kylo died, and everyone's like, are you kidding me? So now what you have her do is she destroys Palpatine and she dies because of it. So she's not invincible. And you have the last Skywalker in Ben have some sort of meaningful sacrifice of his life by giving it for her, because he uses the healing trick to save her, but drain his life force in the process. Then there's a weird fanfic moment where they kiss and he dies.
So, okay, but if Rey already healed Kylo, that didn't kill her. Why is it? Because he wasn't dead, so it just took a little bit of her life force. It didn't take a lot.
Probably
it's going to take all of his life force. I don't get it.
Probably, I don't know. So there is a thing in Legends, in Legacy era comic books, where Cade Skywalker uses an incredibly rare force ability where he can basically bring people back from the brink of death. Now, it does cause it's a toll on it because it's a dark side power, but he doesn't die or anything because of it.
That's what I was going to ask. That was the whole thing about, episode 3. That was a Sith power, right? Or
they were looking more at everlasting life, like controlling midichlorians to prolong your life, not necessarily. Well, and I guess he said prevent people from dying.
Right.
But as far as bringing them back to life, I don't think there's anything that we've seen in canon that shows that. I looked up, because I did a video a couple days ago on healing, if we'd ever seen healing before in current Disney Star Wars canon, and the only time it had been done before was attempted by Baby Yoda. That's all that it said. That's all that I could find for force healing in canon, because Baby Yoda tries to heal Mandalorian.
Right. He does the ET thing.
Yeah, and it was just an attempt. I mean, it didn't.
Yeah, we don't see it actually happen.
But again, that's why I think it's so important of the timing and that it comes out before Rise of Skywalker to set it up for the fact that force healing is a thing. To make this excuse that, you don't need all this training to do extraordinary things like stop a multi-ton animal from just lift it in the air.
That pissed me off too. I mean, I like the show, but that was ridiculous. I mean, because it implies training. When you raise your hand and close your eyes, that implies training. If it was just some sort of reaction, that would be one thing. But even that's convoluted. I mean, 50 years old. I mean,
yeah. Well, and it's like Baby Yoda's when he does something, there's a purpose behind it, or other than that, he's just essentially eye candy for people who love cute things.
Well, I think maybe it's those Baby Einstein videos or Jedi Einstein videos he was watching as a child. There's a Force video that we haven't found out yet, and that's how he gains that power.
And to Deep Eye's point, did Obi-Wan heal Luke and he's knocked down by the same people? So all Jedi were trained to a point to be able to, somewhat have very minimal healing capabilities. That was more of just a thing to wake him up, wake him up from his unconsciousness effectively. It wasn't like Luke was sitting there dead or anything. But yeah. But yeah, so that is basically. That's the big ending, right? And the First Order or the Resistance beats the First Order fleet, all of this stuff, and they all celebrate. Poe attempts to hit on Zori Bliss, but it doesn't work because she's a strong woman. Now, here's initially what this says. For the end of the film, it's on Tatooine. Our heroes then travel to where everything began, the desolate sand-swept planet of Tatooine. Now, this is a thing that's changed. It said between defeating Sidious in this moment, Rey has disassembled Anakin and Leia's lightsabers and used their components to construct one of her own. But in this one, it says she didn't disassemble their lightsabers. She came to the moisture farm to bury them. How she knows where the Lars homestead is, if it's still there, why anyone, like, is it still being used? Why anyone's not like, what the hell are you doing here? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works.
What is the significance of burying lightsabers in the dirt? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Some kid's going to find them. He's going to be out there plowing, and he's going to kill himself. He's going to and cut his leg off. And I mean,
yeah, they're out there metal detecting for stuff, and they come across there.
They're out there in Tatooine, out there, always trying to.
It's all fun and games till somebody finds a lightsaber.
And why wouldn't you just take Leia's? I mean, so Luke's can go to Tatooine, that's fine, but take Leia's to Alderaan. Oh, never mind.
So she now has a black gray-handled lightsaber, which she ignites to show a yellow blade. She and BB-8 are the only ones present until a woman appears, asking her name, to which she says Rey. Rey who? Then, seeing Luke and Leia's ghosts in the distance, replies, Rey Skywalker, as she clearly sees them as the parents she was never able to have. Rey and BB-8 look off at the setting twin suns, and the movie ends.
So Rey's a redneck. Her parents were brother and sister. What the hell? That's how she has her powers, boy.
There you go.
Figured it out.
I love like the final scene in this movie is with characters that what I mean, like that were just in this Disney trilogy here. So it's just, again, a spit in the face, man, to the OG, not only the fans who have been there from the beginning, but it's terrible, man. Like one of my favorite endings in a Star Wars movie is A New Hope, where they're all there on stage. And he's got the medal on. I mean, we get everybody in the movie there, and now we have these new characters with none of the old characters that everybody loves in this final scene. No real actual Skywalker exists in this final scene of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, to me, what have they done this for? What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of ending the Skywalker saga? Because now what you have is these guys have all come and said they're not interested in doing anything else. Their stories are done. We're not going to get any more stories of Rey, Poe, or Finn. Not that we want any, but they're not going to be able to go off of that. So what do we care about anything that happens in the future? We're not connected to anything. So that is why I personally think, we talked about at the very beginning of this stream, the only way for them to go is to go backwards into the Old Republic, to something else that a lot of hardcore fans are attached to in the KOTOR, SWOTOR era. That's what I think they're going to do. Yeah,
and as a fan, man, like, I'm cautiously optimistic of that. Like, I really don't want to say, yeah, I'm really excited. That'd be really great. But I am kind of feeling like that. That would be really great as a fan. But again, with everything that's happened with Disney up to this point, like, the other part of me is like, I don't want to see any of that, because they're just going to take that and ruin that too.
Yeah, because I was pumped to see, Han, Luke, and Leia. I couldn't wait to see, what have you guys been up to? I can't wait to see the Falcon again. Hey, Chewie, what? And then we see what we got. So, yeah. I mean, you're right. It is odd to just leave it so just to kill it, right? To shut it down and have nothing to build on moving forward.
Yep.
So you go backward, maybe you start something brand new, but I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, look at the merchandising. I was going to talk about that a little bit. You know, they're putting no real effort into this thing from like just look at the toys, you know? I mean, I think we've all been to the Walmarts. I've posted some stuff on Twitter where they have this little section of just kind of generic stuff. They have the little, you know, expandable lightsabers and some generic figures. And it's really nothing. There's no oomph behind it. I sort of tend to think they're going to abandon this. I think it had its run and that's it. And I think they're going to maybe stick to the Disney Plus stuff, but I don't know that they're going to touch Star Wars for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to sell it.
They have talked about doing a hiatus where there is just Disney Plus stuff for a while. And I think from a marketing standpoint, it's a very smart idea. And then come strong. Once people kind of forget all of this or put it in the back of their mind, then come strong with like that Knights of the Old Republic, movies and all that. But yeah, it's the rush. All right, let's just hurry up and finish the Star Wars saga so then we can start making our own new stuff that people can't be pissed off about because it's just how we make it.
Right.
But we'll still find something wrong with it because if they're going to continue to write movies like they're writing this one, there will continue to be issues with it.
Yeah, and this is a great point by Danny. What's the legacy of the Skywalker family? The saga ends the way it's going to be. The Skywalkers are failures, and effectively, yeah. At this point, there's no Skywalker saga.
No,
a Palpatine died at the hands of a Palpatine. Like, that's it. Bottom line, you can say Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker delayed, maybe, you know, interrupted the Emperor's reign, delayed his death maybe until that could happen. But at the end of the day, what did the Skywalkers do? Give pep talks. That's all you have ultimately. And, you have Ben Solo giving his life so that Rey can live. But I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. And, they destroyed a lot of legacy characters to build up these characters who aren't going to do anything from here. It's the most frustrating part.
Yeah, you're very much right on that one.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, if you destroy something to build something else, that's one thing. You just destroyed this to build nothing. I mean, we're not going to move forward from this. And honestly, what you destroyed so much lore. I mean, you don't have the mystical chosen one anymore fulfilling the prophecy. That's sort of squashed. You know, they've destroyed that. We don't have a lot of cool Jedi Knights moving forward either. It seems to me, I haven't seen the movie yet, obviously, but we're going to have Rey Skywalker. That's it. So, I mean, what will be her legacy? What will she do moving on? I mean, is she going to build a temple? Is she going to resurrect the Jedi Order? I don't know. But if she's burying lightsabers, that seems to me sort of
they're done.
Symbolically, we're done. We're burying it, and it's done, and it's squashed, and that's it. And you go be a moisture farmer, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, we know Bob Iger came out and said they're going to go on a hiatus 3 years until more movies. But I don't think this was intentional. It was because they're so fucked up. They had Benioff and Weiss there. They couldn't keep them. They decided to go to Netflix. Whether you want to say they were fired or whatever, it's just it's another case of them not being able to hang on to any of their directors. And Kathleen Kennedy came out. There was a comicbook.com article Kathleen Kennedy tried to minimize everything that was going on and, how they were saying, that it's not really a big deal. We had all these directorial issues. It's a huge deal. And that's why you're in this position where you don't have anything available to come out until like 2022. Yeah. I got a couple super chats right here. Jaegerbomb for another $5. Thank you. Is it worse to be vanilla bad or incredibly bad? Rise of Skywalker just feels vanilla bad, where The Last Jedi was terrible, making Rise of Skywalker worse. Broom Boy not mentioned. I don't know if Broom Boy will make an appearance. They'll probably just forget all about him. And I would agree that, The Last Jedi is, I think it's different. I think that if this movie had just come out like this, we might be saying it's incredibly bad like TLJ, but it's 2 years after the shock of that. And now we're thinking like, how are you going to pick up those pieces? So we look at this and we maybe don't think it's quite so bad. What do you guys think?
Well, real quick, I just have a thought. Is it just me, or the number of displaced children in the Star Wars universe outnumber the children who actually have parents?
Oh, but that's probably true. There's a lot of deadbeat dads around, evidently.
We got to have a return to family, Jordan. Dads got to quit being, or men got to become dads and not baby daddies. We got to
right.
family. You got to establish that. I think there's actually a leak. I just saw it popped up. Got a notification. The last leak is actually Broom Boy does make an appearance. He's actually at the end after they leave, and he's sweeping and he uncovers the lightsabers. So there you go. he's
yeah, I like that.
He's going to become a new Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And then Max Santiago for $5. Are you guys continuing support for Star Wars? Disney is done for me. Well, personally, Max, I think that's a decision everybody has to make for themselves. I have Disney Plus. I'm on the 1 year free subscription from Verizon. So yeah, I'll have that for the next 10 months or so. I had my kid watches reruns of, not reruns, but some of the old shows on there and everything. I don't think I'll be continuing that after that subscription. The free subscription runs up, and I'm not going to theaters to see Rise of Skywalker. I fully intend to sail the high seas to make fun of this movie when it does come out. Or maybe I'll be blown away and it'll be awesome. Who knows? But,
I doubt that. Yeah.
What about you guys?
Like I was telling you before, man, like I haven't decided if I'm going to see this movie. I probably will. I'll be honest with you. I probably will, just out of sheer curiosity. I don't know. I'm torn between giving my money up and wanting to see the movie. I'll probably go just because it gets me out of the house, and I'll probably go.
Well, I'm going to watch it. I've got my tickets, and come by my channel midnight on the 19th. I'm going to be spoiling the hell out of the movie. I'm going to be talking about it. I'll give you 10 minutes of spoiler-free talk, and then it's going to be wide open spoiler. So we'll talk about all this again then. Ryan's right. It's definitely a personal decision you have to make. I love Star Wars. So if I see some Star Wars out there that's good, The Mandalorian for me, for the most part, is good. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to partake. But, like you see right here, I'm a round disher. I mean, my Star Wars is the OT, That's where it lives. That's where my heart is. So, there's been a lot of damage done. And I think that moving forward, if you do a total boycott, I totally understand. But I think that I will just say this: there are some good artists out there, directors and writers. There are a few that are putting a good foot forward, and I think they love Star Wars. And I think that those are the people that you need to support, whether they're comic book writers, whether it's Favreau making his series. So just keep your eyes open for that. Be open to it, because I'd hate for you to miss out on some good Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think to add to that, there are these good directors. There's these people listening to us in these conversations. I mean, people hear us. People see these things. They take these things into consideration. Again, with The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau. I mean, with the problems it does have, there's not a lot I like the show, but they listen. They listen to the true fans. So we got to keep talking about it. Whether you go see it or not, that's fine. But don't let the conversation die off. Keep it going, because these are things that we love. Star Wars, we love this, and we want it to be good. And I feel like we do have say, and I feel like people listen to that.
Yeah, and like I said, it is. You guys have all said it's to each individual's own. And Anna's in chat. She said she's not going to see it, and I'm not going to go see it either. I am going to pirate it.
What?
Don't come for me.
Did you hear what Ryan said? Sorry.
Yeah.
Matey,
Yeah, because I'll be honest, after reading this, I think it's going to be a huge shit show. And I think that it's going to be, I don't think I can talk about it if I haven't seen it. And I do want to talk about it because of what a mess it is. I want to
swap the poop decks.
I want to keep exposing this.
I gave The Last Jedi 4 tickets. I bought 4 tickets and saw that. I never saw it again, but I took me and my 3 kids. And I'm giving this movie 3 tickets. So it's kind of a wash. So I'm still up 1, I guess. But I need to see it though. It's like, Old Yeller, he's going to die at the end. They're going to put a bullet in his head. So I want to be there to watch them finish it off, and so I can have the total story and pick up the pieces and go from there. But listen, and Ryan's a great source for this. Sorry, Ryan. There's plenty of EU out there that, I'm still soaking that stuff up. So there's a lot of good Star Wars out there. If you don't like the new stuff, go back to that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I 100% agree with that too. And there's a lot of people who are getting into the EU because they're kind of just tired of the stuff, but they're still hungry for more Star Wars. And whatever your taste may be, I can guarantee you I'll find a book, that is something of what you like, whether it's a book or a comic or something like that, something that you'll be interested in.
Quick question for you, Ryan. Have you read From a Certain Point of View?
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I've talked a lot about it with my old roommate and stuff. That's an interesting book. It's a very interesting book.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I know like maybe a lot of people aren't super into reading either. But
audio.
I saw somebody in chat that says EU is meaningless. Well, that sucks to be you, because those stories are like great Star Wars. These are stories that people who are fed up with what's going on with the sequel trilogy are coming to. Shit that's been written 30 years ago, people want to read because of the shit that Disney's been giving us. So it sucks that it's meaningless to you. A lot of other people find meaning in it, though.
And the best part about it is those Legends stuff was written by passionate fans.
Yes. In the 90s that wanted more Star Wars and had gone almost a decade without it, And so they had to contribute in some way. They had to put pen to paper and worked with Lucasfilm and George to do this stuff. But it's not just the books either. You got video games out there that explore the lore too. You got KOTOR, you got Force Unleashed. I mean, you got all the stuff from the like the PS2 era. So there's just tons of stuff out there you can get into.
Yeah, and it was written by fans, but the important thing is it was all done with the permission of Lucasfilm and George Lucas. He vetoed a lot of stuff. We talked about Dark Empire earlier and how he changed the way the story was told. The New Jedi Order was supposed to be completely different. A character dies. I'll tell you that. A character dies. I won't spoil it because that's not what we're talking about today. But a major character dies. It was actually supposed to be a different character. George Lucas says no. And then he also switched the roles of two others who they had planned on because he wanted this person to have a big role in the future. And even in 2015, before Force Awakens comes out, he does an interview with Stephen Colbert, and he asked, what would your sequel trilogy been like? And he said, well, they didn't take mine, but my story was always about, the father, the children, and the grandchildren. It's no big secret, just like in the novels. So it's clear that was part of his story going forward. He says that.
It's funny that you're not willing to spoil the EU stuff, but you're totally willing to just throw these spoilers out. Yeah. That just goes to show you how beautiful the EU is, man.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's something worth experiencing. It has been out for a while, so I guess you've probably heard it if you're interested in hearing it or not. But yeah, that's just my perspective, and I think that a lot more people are coming over to that because. Before you didn't have to, you weren't offended by Star Wars, Star Wars wasn't something that made you run screaming for the hills, but now it kind of is. But we got some great stuff. And yeah, we're getting into it. But, thank you guys so much for, joining me and talking about these spoilers and everything like that.
Oh yeah, dude.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you so much, man. This is awesome.
We got up to 270 people watching at one point. Absolutely crazy. If you guys don't mind, if you haven't, go ahead and smash a like button. We got 260 people watching, 137 thumbs up. So if you could smash the like button before you leave, if you could subscribe if you haven't, and then these guys, let me go ahead and put their links in chat. There's 19K Fox, and 19K Fox. Why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
I am 19K Fox. I'm on 19K Fox 1 on Twitter. I do a lot of movie reviews. I have a 2-minute review, which is a section of brand new movie every week. I do a quick review. It's just to give you my overall impressions. Should you see the movie or should you not see the movie? Spoiler free. Those are quick little tidbits, 2 minutes or less, so it doesn't take too much of your time. I also go into in depth with Mandalorian, other movies that I'm passionate about. Batwoman is another series that I'm reviewing. I love to abuse myself, and so that's I share that with you. And I actually do it so you don't have to. But yeah. Anyway, if you've got a few minutes, swing by my channel, take a look, hit like, and if you feel like maybe it's something you want to come see again, subscribe. I appreciate it. And Ryan, thanks again for having me.
Absolutely, brother. And Ordsboard, what about yourself? I'll put your link in chat while you tell the people about yourself.
Thank you so much. So I'm Ordsboard. You guys can find me on Twitter, and you know, being the boomer I am, I just started an Instagram. I don't know if anyone wants to head over there and check me out there. I think I follow Drunk 3PO and that's it so far. So anyway, yeah, guys, I do all kinds of different stuff on the channel, movie reviews. I try to do stuff that a lot of people aren't doing, something different. But I also do trailer reactions, and I just try to keep up with pop culture, man. I'm really bad at doing it, so I created a YouTube channel to keep up with it, because if I didn't, then I'd be lost and know nothing. But yeah, if you guys are bored, come hang out with me. I'm bored over on my channel. Come check me out, guys. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, again, thank you guys for joining me a little bit short notice, and going through these leaks. We had a great stream, man. A lot of good.
Thank you, man. This is really cool that you opened this up. And as somebody who's new to this and this community, guys, like, you guys have been nothing but loving and caring, and I appreciate every invite, man.
Oh yeah, no problem. And that's how we all rise together here. This community. If it's your first time listening to anyone from the Fandom Menace, it's not all the evil you've been told. It's mostly just people coming out and having fun, supporting each other, regardless of your opinion. We might get a little testy at times. But yeah,
there's nothing but love here, man. Like, no jokes. Since I've started like hanging out with everybody here, this stuff that people talk about, the Fandom Menace and the people in this community is wrong. And you can see nobody's got a gun to my head telling me to say these things.
Well, I mean, when it comes to candy corn and Baby Yoda, okay, we have some. We're working.
We're working. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we could put that aside, and it's nothing but love. So
that is true. That is very true. Now, I'm going to share some links with you guys for some places you can go to get some great content when we're done. First, I'm going to thank my patrons one more time, because my patrons are awesome. If you're interested, there are links in the description below. If you want to join that'd be awesome. Help support me and help keep me doing what I'm doing. But thank you so much to Teresa Martin, Mexican Iron Man, Lost Jedi 22 has been in here all the time with some zingers in chat. Mary Mayhem, what an ass, what a bitch, what a cuck. George, Big Dick, Lucas, Rosetta Allen, Bionic Belly Button, RC from the NYC, Huge Ass, Seth Saunders, Kyle Hopkins, Alex McCarthy, Trev Fishbein, and Geeky Candy. Now, we do have some other streams going on right now. One of them I'm going to post right here is Mark the Cyborg, who does gaming stuff for Geeks and Gamers. And right now there is a Geeks and Gamers Mario Kart competition going on his channel. So I'm going to link that right here for you guys to go to. You guys can go check that out. I'll do it one more time. That is Mark the Cyborg stream. And then also, if you guys want to go and talk about more Star Wars, we have Demogeny and Fatal J, who are doing a stream right now. I think Rosetta is actually on there with them. Here you go. They're doing a Keepers of the Force stream, which is a Star Wars thing. So Demogeny, and I will link that, and you guys can go there as well. Please go check those guys out. They are awesome. They're doing great stuff. But thank you all for being here with me today. Thank you to my guests, my wonderful chat, my wonderful patrons. Y'all are awesome. Everyone who stopped by, everyone who liked, everyone who shared. Thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you guys later.